Hey everybody, we're doing the Hanz debate panel tonight. Immigration, gonna be a lot of fun, I think. I'm gonna be watching some fights as well, so if I start yelling about that. But hopefully it should be a good one, and hopefully we have a fun time and have some good discussion. Hans's panels are always pretty amazing, so it's pretty sweet. So I'm gonna go live to the channel, so enjoy everybody.
There we go.
I guess we're all wider than you.
Hey, it's length that matters, though, right?
Also,
it depends who you ask. It's whether you're debating infrared and he knows that
yeah.
you're bigger than him or not. It's like,
Oh no! Yo, I saw some of those VODs afterwards. Holy shit!
he still hasn't responded to my tweet. I know he's seen it because he's insane. So it's like,
Oh
But-
man!
Everyone's been just like not retweeting, but just saying the shit that.
oh,
The debate
I've
one.
never lost a debate in my
Yeah.
life. Like, can you imagine the absolute arrogance? Like, everyone's lost a debate. I've lost many debates. Destiny's lost debates. Vosh has lost debates. Like, no one is unclean. Like, so no one's clean from that. You know what I mean?
I've lost.
Wait, where did that come
No
from?
one is
originally?
unsullied.
That's weird.
It just
Huh?
it was out random. It was on Twitter.
Oh, okay, but dude, it wasn't anyone like a debate or anything that said it unironically, and then everyone else started memeing on it, or
No. Infrared said it unironically. He's like, I've never lost a debate. The only debates I've lost has been copium from my enemies and complete misrepresentation of
funny.
the facts of the matter. And so everyone just copy pasted and started quote tweeting each other.
no, even he even quote tweeted Stardust tweets of Stardust parodying him. So I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
you guys can see me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I can't see you guys, but that's okay. If it kicks me again, we can stay in whereby, but I can just
it's
do
okay.
audio, or
It's okay, Zan. Let's take a mulligan. Let's leave the whereby. Let's everyone just try and turn their cameras on in Discord. Okay.
Okay,
Already
sorry
Discord?
about that. I always have issues with whereby.
No worries.
I
Oh,
guess
man, but
we're
I
only
like
doing
changing my-
Discord now, guys.
We're up. Let's go.
I'm gonna miss the Hans background.
Exactly. That thing was.
I
I
know.
wanted to show it to stream, but maybe the URL would get in and they would be able to get in or something, so I didn't. But yeah.
You guys are
Uh,
messing up my whole stream, right? Everyone's like, "Where the fuck did you go? You're no longer."
I'm sorry.
All
I'm
right.
sorry. Xander Hall. Da-da.
There we go. This should work.
There we go. Can you see me, Xander Hall? I know it's important for you to see me because
I
you
see
know.
Sprout. Yeah,
Alright.
I can
Total
see
random
everybody except
aside.
Hans.
Biggs and Sproutacus.
Sorry, I'm just trying to go live. We're a little bit behind schedule.
Does anyone ever notice that conservatives have certain kinds of haircuts and leftists have certain kinds of haircuts?
I have like a pretty what I would guess to be conservative haircut. I feel like I really like having short hair, clean
Dude,
cut.
same.
That's my
So
whole thing.
This haircut actually, it's just because I was in the military and I never not done this haircut because I just like the way it looks. So,
military.
Have you ever considered like growing it out? Like my cousin's in the Air Force, and he like always complains about it. He's like, "Yeah, I want to grow my hair out," because he had longer hair during like high school before he like joined.
no, I've never thought about that because in middle school I thought about growing my hair out, right? And I'm Italian, so it becomes like this Jufro that just looks awful. Like,
Same,
you can already see it up here. Like up here, you can already see like that it just decides to grow up, not out, not down. It just
I'm Italian and I'm afraid of the Jufros.
Yep. It's same thing with me. I'm Italian, super thick,
Wait, was that racist?
curly ass
Wait,
hair.
how many tallies do we have here? Holy
It's
shit! Do we need to
canceled.
do like what is going on?
I didn't mean
Wait, how
it to
many
be
Italians do we
racist, I
have?
was just
We
trying
have
to,
two
like,
Italians at least. We have Xan and
explain.
Spartacus.
Hey, after my last couple debates, I am an honorary Italian.
Honorary
alright? Like,
Italian. Okay.
yeah, it's
we
like-
got the- damn.
I speak the language.
Well, according to the
Italians didn't
Cuomo's,
even know about the
according to
Mario
the Cuomo's, it's 100% okay to sexually harass people as long as you're Italian, according to the Cuomo's.
It's our culture.
Like, got him. Oh, Nacho's here. Nice.
Oh,
All
is
right.
this perfect? Is this everyone? That means I have space for the chat as well. Let's go.
Oh yeah, we do.
I
Howdy.
don't think that's everyone. Is that everyone?
Yeah, 3 and 3. Well,
Okay.
Nacho's here now. Yeah.
Hey, Hans, if you
So-
actually start renaming us, you can pick what order you want us to go in. So like if you like just number across like the top first top 3 cameras would be 1, 2, 3,
there we
and
go.
then just
Oh, yeah.
rename them and put like a number in front of their name, give them like a nickname in your server. It's gonna arrange it however you want it to be.
I got you. Yeah. 1 second. If we could do that now. Sprout, put one in front of your name. Nacho, put 2 in front of yours. Biggs, put 3 in front of yours. And then LSP, you're 4. Rose Wrist, you're 5. And then I'll just be Hanz because then put me at the bottom. And then Nacho, did you shave? It looks nice.
Yeah.
At least you with the beard.
We're growing out the top and shaving the bottom. All right, we're switching it up.
Nice.
What number should I put before my name?
6.
How do I do this, Zach? I totally missed that.
Just change your nickname and put a 3 next to your name.
Yep.
And then American Nacho put a 2 next to yours.
Yep. Indeed.
Have I done it correctly? I have no idea.
Changing his name made
Oh
him
god. Oh god, something just messed up.
No source
It's
selected.
because it has some like it must have some like
There you go.
key
They're back.
binds attached to this or something. It's pissing me off. I start typing, all of a sudden it just
All right.
Sorry, I don't want to give you like tech. I don't want to give you like tech tips on stream. It feels a little bit weird, like I'm trying to like take over. But I just wanted to give that suggestion. It's
yeah.
Oh no,
this
I've done
is
this
gonna
when
be-
I've had to use Discord before, so I appreciate it.
Oh, okay.
This is gonna be a little stupid. I don't know why.
No, stupid. Say it ain't so. I've never been stupid in my life. All right, 1 second. Just gotta get this through. Bum bum bum.
Okay, that's gonna be really frustrating.
Just say we got no source nacho.
It's gonna do that every time I type for some reason.
Oof.
Hey,
Just,
Nacho.
That's gonna be
Just don't type. Just don't type. Don't do it.
really lame. Right? Yeah.
How dare you look up stuff in
I'll
panels?
just-
Yeah, just
I'll
don't.
just-
Just
I
don't
guess I'll
type
just
iPad.
fucking-
Just trust us, bro. Trust us.
Use your feelings. You know it to be true. Immigration good. No, it doesn't. I'm fucking with you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome.
I don't know. What are my opinions? I am a humble moderator. I've never had a
How is the
political opinion in my
volume?
life.
Coming in pretty
I am-
good?
Unbiased
am-
moderator.
Oh
I-
no.
Oh,
No,
I am
no,
middle
no,
guy,
Guide
no,
all
or
right?
test. Oh my god, it's gonna
Although
do it
more,
every time.
I'm more bottom guy right now, but same energy. Let's take this.
It's
I
frustrating.
What's
have
up,
no
Ludo?
opinions. Only moderate.
My
Only
number one.
I mean, like, I
My
feel
number
like
one
it's a
home
personal thing that I
dog.
do, like for my panels. Because I feel like if I try and jump in, one, that means I'm not like policing myself the same way that I'm policing everybody else, and also like no one wants to like argue with the guy who could just.
How's
mute
the
you on
volume
command,
levels? Are
like,
they pretty
So
good?
it's kind of frustrating. So
I don't think I could ever be a debate moderator. Like I would feel, especially with certain people, if I was moderating them like in a debate, I would play so much favorites. I would have to be fighting not to get involved.
Who would be your favorite in this room? Alex or Zen or whatever.
Do I rank everybody, or who's my favorite
Yeah,
person?
who's your
or-
favorite?
Who's
Come
your
on.
favorite and why is it Millis?
you don't have to you don't have to rank all of us. Just like give us like give everyone a score out of 10.
Okay,
That's literally right.
I've talked to LSP a good amount, and I think they're pretty pogs. So I'd give them like a 8 or
We
a
were talking
9. Like
about
on the, hold on, am I scaling
immigration-
everyone in here like based on whoever I
and
like here the
immigration
most as a
policy.
10, or like broadly on the
Um,
internet?
We're talking about the
Five
border
being-
crisis. We're talking
You
about
have
the
no
whips.
strong opinions for or against
talking
them,
about,
and it gets more
how
negative as you go
the
down, and more positive as you go up.
border
completely,
control can be
like,
improved.
non opinion is
So we'll
5.
see where it goes.
Like hating them is 1.
But it's like literally
like your
just
worst
every
enemy,
topic's
and then
about
10 is like they're like your best friend.
Well, no one here is below 5, to be sure. I think Hanz and LSP are up there at like an 8 or a 9. And
I
then
don't know. I watched-
Spartacus
Sweet
is
talking
like
the
a-
moderator. This feels like trying to get some
Yeah,
bias.
I'm
treatment.
Yeah, it's like when Vosh goes on Modern Day Debate and talks about how he wants to fuck the moderator so bad, just juicing him up.
Oh yeah,
I
every
don't know.
time.
I watched your stream. I watched your YouTube videos, Xander Hall, and you're like, "Oh, I debated Sproutacus, and who's not going to win a debate against Sproutacus?" I just
I'm
sorry. I'm
abortion.
sorry.
I
That was pretty
debated
funny.
when it came to abortion.
Oh no!
All right,
Wait,
man.
did you do a review of our abortion debate?
No, he reviewed. No, he.
Oh, 'cause
reviewed
that was a fun
our
one.
abortion debate.
That's what I was
in which I
asking.
destroyed him and said that he said.
Oh,
it was,
okay. Okay, never mind.
Said it was God tier.
Who did?
You did. You said it was God tier.
Oh shit! The
It
lore.
was a
It's
pretty
almost
good
already.
debate. It was a
I didn't know
god
there'd be
tier
so much
debate.
fireworks.
You did very good, Spartacus.
Thank
I love you,
you.
buddy.
Love you too.
All right.
But most people here, oh yeah, Rose Wrist seems pretty fucking cool, like a 6 or 7 or something. I don't know them too well, but I've seen their research document. It's pretty well put together. And who else here? Loner Box? Yeah, you're pretty cool. I like your videos, Loner
That's
Box.
not
Your
a-
shit's good.
It's not Loner Box. It's American Nacho.
It's American Nacho. Close enough.
Wait,
Close
who's Loner
enough.
Box?
Close
Oh,
enough.
no.
Really?
Close enough.
At least it
White on
wasn't-
white racism.
It wasn't
Like, don't-
Destiny this time. It's fine.
Do we all look the same? Do we all look the same, Xander
Italian,
Hall?
Italian discrimination.
Don't worry, chat. Don't worry, gang. We have a very diverse panel tonight. All men, and we go from pretty white to extremely white in the case
Hey.
of Rose Wrist. So, like, we have
Hey,
a great
Okay.
diversity.
I'm changing my lighting.
I've been working inside for a long time.
Technically, I'm not white. Technically, according to Chud Logic, Italians are not white. So,
Whoa!
according to Chud Logic,
That feels like
Listen, all I'm
Rickmonger
saying-
racism. That
All
really
I'm
does.
saying is Italians are POC coded, okay?
It's-
I'm a mudblood, okay? I'm Mexican, and then I'm just a whole bunch of
It's
mess
not
on
the
my white
immigration
side.
panel,
so-
I think.
Okay.
Like, who's white, who's not white?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, me and Sprout look basically the same. We're like, as far as like, I would not be upset if anyone confused us, like if they saw us out in public. Like besides the backgrounds right
you
now, we're
guys
pretty
are
damn similar
brothers.
looking.
Brothers or
I
cousins.
would be extremely offended.
I feel like
I'd be
Zan's
extremely
backpedaling now because
Whoa.
he
No, I'm
misplaced
messing-
Loner
I'm
Box
messing
American Nacho. He's
When I
got
posted-
I'm
okay if people confuse
overcompensating with
me
the
with somebody.
anti-white racism. Yeah.
When I posted
right,
the
my-
tweet, though,
Which one of your name is Little Timmy? Like IRL, I'm just curious. Like I'm just like, is it Rose? Is it Rose? Like
My computer's there. It's not letting me change my lighting, man. Fuck.
When I posted
dude,
this
you look fine. You look fine. But like
No,
Rose,
no,
I
no.
would recommend as a fellow pasty motherfucker, colored
Right.
lighting. Because like
Yeah,
I'm
look.
literally like as pale as you. You're like, I think you're the only person I've ever met like online that's like more white than I am.
Right,
Like
right,
just have
true.
some like I have some colored lights behind you. It like definitely helps with the atmosphere, and you don't look so like. But you look fine. Like it's a good
You're,
look. I
you're
think, like,
literally
yeah.
glowing. You're
when I
luminescent.
posted the tweet, Xander Hall, though, when I
Blow
posted
up.
that tweet about our debate,
Girl.
people were like, "Is that the same person? The same person?" Question mark. And I'm like, "No, nope, two different people."
Wait, really? People were like confusing us that way?
They were commenting saying that's the same person.
Yeah, they thought you were just troll memeing and like debating yourself.
Hold on. Do
Ah.
wait. Wait. Is it? Do you think like the reason why a lot of lefties don't like me is because they keep confusing me with a conservative?
Oh,
Oh,
please,
what?
please,
No.
let that be true.
That's
Let that
the
be true.
reason.
What?
I will go
Possible.
around saying
I
I'm
like
Xander
Sprout.
Hall.
What are you talking
I will
about?
go
Yeah.
around saying I'm Xander Hall.
I mean, I don't feel like that's gonna harm my reputation all that much, actually, because I feel like a lot of the online left already hates me, like as much as if I was a
Yeah, that's
conservative.
alright.
Hey,
The
I'm
online
not
left
a
hates
conservative.
everybody.
The first time I talked to Destiny, he thought I was CTV. So you know, you can't get much more like off than that. So
You need to
I'm
grow
not
your
a
beard back,
conservative
Nacho.
anymore,
Then
though,
you'll be.
according to
He's
the other
I
online
don't know. I was
conservatives.
like, "What do you think? We just like dress?" I think he said he thought we dress up in outfits or
He
something.
was trying to take it so people didn't think you were him.
I'm like, God.
Because when you
Damn.
grow your
Oh.
goatee out, you look like Destiny
Oh,
too.
yeah. Oh, you definitely look like Destiny, like Nacho. Like with the beard, it works. Like I
Yeah.
think- yeah. And anyway, all right,
I figured out a solution. There we
we're
go.
behind schedule. We're 10 minutes late. As the moderator, I am bringing us
So
back.
Lefty's fault.
Oh, I mean that's actually kind of.
Oh shit, that did not work.
Rose Wrist, what did you do? You see- like what? You see- what- You're like, I wasn't white enough. Like I need
that's the strategy, okay? If I ever need to stun my debate opponents, okay? If they're ever saying some shit, I need to get them off guard. I just
What sneaky
flashbang them with
debate
this
tactic
shit.
is this? Like,
Flashbang strategy, okay?
Wow.
That's how it works. Oh, for fuck's sake.
all right.
It won't let me open my goddamn Elgato control center. I can't even find it on my computer.
It's okay. It's okay. You look great. You look great. All right. Don't worry. Okay. So while
proud to
Rose
be
Rose
white.
figures out his stuff, all right, we're going to introduce everybody on the panel. So feel free to a little bit about yourself, what your positions are, and where people can find you. Feel free to like drop your links in the chat. We'll do like a plugging at the beginning and a plugging at the end. So it's not like part of any of like the actual like discussion. So never worry about having like to say who you are during your opening statement or during your closing statements, because I feel like I want people to focus on the topics. So we'll start with Sprout, then Nacho, then Biggs, then LSP, and then Rosers if he's finished, and then finishing with Zan. So Sprout, tell us about yourself, buddy.
All right, my name is Sprouticus. You can find me on twitch.tv/Sprouticus, twitter.com/Sprouticus. I'm a constitutionalist conservative, although these past month or so, conservative has been called into question. So I guess I'm just a constitutionalist at this point. But if you like the takes, you can find me where I said previously. Looking forward to this debate. I am pro-immigration to go into this debate. So,
All right, American Nacho.
Yeah, I'm American Nacho. I'm center right, with some libertarian roots in there somewhere. I'm also on Twitch. I'm everywhere. I think I'm the only American Nacho for now. I mostly do gaming and stuff, but I have jumped into the politics in the past year, and I'm enjoying it, exploring the political world. So if you want to come do that with me, you want to see a little game, and you want to see me suck at Rust and
Hey, Rubber
dominate
Ducky, what's
people at
up?
Rocket League, then come
Welcome
over and
to the
hang out.
panel.
A fellow Rust degenerate.
Yeah,
What's your rank in Rocket League?
champ right now, but my highest is like GC. So
Oh damn! I don't know what like that scale is, but that sounds very impressive. Is it like is this like the Pokemon Unite like list where it's like expert is like the second rank?
they just
Like-
took away Grand Champ was the highest rank, and I was like right there. I'm like 2 MMR points below that, and then they took that rank and they added another rank above it. So I'm like big Sag, but we'll get there.
So you said you were GC, but then
I'm
turns out
still
you
in like the
weren't.
top
So that
2
that feels
percentile.
kind of
I'm still-
disingenuous. We're gonna throw it to Biggs now.
I've hit it, but I'm
Not
not.
just starting this with a
I'm not
lie.
claiming awards, okay?
Starting this with a lie.
Can't claim it fully. Okay, I don't have a
Biggs-
title.
It's okay. All right, Biggs.
Yeah, my name's Biggs. I'm a center libertarian, basically, more right leaning, but I try to have an open mind about things, kind of get down to the root of issues, trying to find real solutions to the actual problems we're having. And I think that tonight's discussion should be pretty interesting, and hopefully we'll be able to do that. I do want to thank you, Hanz, for having me on tonight, and thank all the panelists because you guys are all pretty awesome. I've been involved in a lot of stuff with many of you here and there, so I'm looking forward to this conversation, and hope we all have fun and keep an open mind.
Thanks so much, Biggs. All right, LSP, my dude.
My dude. Hi. I'm LSP. I'm a liberal YouTuber. I make liberal YouTube political content once every 6 months or something like that. Inconsistently, but usually a lot of it's content targeting alt-right, race realism kind of stuff. But I really love immigration issues. I'm here to talk immigration. Thank you to Hanz for having me. I love all of you, especially my man Biggs. We've never met, but I've always been a big fan of you. So
Thank you.
for the last 2 minutes when I met you.
You as well, sir. Thank you.
IRI, what happened to my cool background? I know I will not throw anyone under the bus, but there was someone on the panel who could not join the whereby. So we're not gonna name names. But we're gonna go coincidentally to Xander Hall. Introduce yourself, buddy.
My name is Xander Hall. You can find me on YouTube and Twitch and my
Lefties
website,
ruin everything.
xanderhall.com/live. I'm a lefty. I talk about pretty progressive stuff. I generally lead more SocDem on most issues, which is pretty progressive for America anyway. And that's more or less all you need to know about me.
Nice. What's the Never mind. What's your opinion on morally neutral things? We're gonna throw it lastly to Rose Wrist. Go ahead, buddy. Hey, wait, everyone, can you hear me now? Someone said in chat that I was quiet. Can everyone hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Yeah, you're
I hear
fine.
you.
Okay, cool.
What did he say?
So, someone in chat said that they couldn't hear me. So, all right.
That's their problem.
I've done the thing. Yo, Carl, thanks for the raid, buddy. Everyone check out Carl. He's a great fucking base lefty who cares a lot about nuclear energy. All right, last but not least, Rose Wrist.
It took me these entire opening statements, but finally, that didn't do anything. Okay, never mind. Okay, regardless. Hello, my name is Rosarist. I believe I'm the only European on this panel, so I will definitely be bound to experiencing some anti-European sentiments and discrimination, as I already have. In fact, it took me the longest out of anybody here to get pulled from the waiting room into the actual call center. So I think if that's an indication of anything that is to come, I better be prepared for this.
I don't know what I can't, something happened to Rose Wrist. There's no anti-European bias on this channel, and I would really appreciate these accusations not being thrown around. I don't like that. But,
I hope this happens. I hope this audio shit happens.
I hope everybody's having a great Saturday
It's gonna make this
evening.
a lot more interesting.
Just the European
I
I
don't
one.
hope you
know
all
if
enjoyed
anyone
watching
noticed,
the
but there
college
was a little,
football
little microphone
today.
with a cross that appeared right
was a
when
pretty
Hanz
sweet
started speaking,
boxing
and I wasn't the one that
heavyweight
clicked on that button. But
championship
regardless,
that, we got a new
my name is
champion.
Rosrist. I am a social democrat, progressive type person, and
we got some
for top of this debate, I
UFC
genuinely
championships
think
tonight, too.
immigration is a pretty good thing generally. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
And if we all end up agreeing, we can talk about the best ways of like doing the good things. So I've had panels where they get spicy, and I've had panels where everyone agrees and we have a good conversation. So I'm up for either. But with all that in mind, everyone, hello. If you're tuning in from someone else's chat or you've never met me before, I'm Hanz of Arkir, former nice guy panel host, now Joker arc, destroyer of demons and hater of all women. So I love every single one of you. I'm really excited for everyone to come see my panel, and I'm excited for tonight. We have a great talk on immigration with a bunch of great guests, and I hope you enjoy this. So, all right. So our first topic of the evening is Border Patrol has recently been cited wielding whips on Haitian migrants. What are ways that we can reform our existing Border Patrol? And if you think it's necessary, if you don't, you're welcome to argue that we don't have to do anything. And our mechanisms of enforcing immigration and border policy. So we are going to start the opening here with Sprout, and then we're going to go to LSP, and then American Nacho, then Rosewrist, then Biggs, and then finishing with Xanderhall. And then for the closing statements, we'll go in the opposite direction. So I'm going to give you 75 seconds on the clock. Sprouticus, topic 1, go ahead, buddy.
Awesome.
Oh shit! Oh wait, I didn't do the fucking rules. Fuck. People haven't been on my panels before. Fuck.
Is this
The
gonna-
rules.
is this-
Anarchy
is
panel.
this-
Fuck it.
Is this gonna take
Anarchy
my
panel.
time? Is this gonna take up my time?
Nope. This
No,
actually yes. All right. So while we're waiting for 75 seconds to go, so if you haven't seen my panels before, my discussion format. Fuck, I just completely forgot this. I assume everyone has seen my panels at this point. But like the intros and outros, each person gets 1 minute. I'm gonna raise that to 75 seconds because no one can stay under a fucking minute for some reason. For each opening and closing statement for the topic. After that, we'll use a hand raising system. Raise your hand after the opening statements, and I'll put you on a list. We'll go down the list.
Put you on
we'll cross
a
up
list.
names as we go. If you raise your hand, I give you a thumbs up. It means you're on the list. If I already give you the thumbs up and you're on the list, don't raise your hand
I
anymore.
really want to
You
know
can't be
what
on the
the
list more than
lefties
once.
have to say about these
Gish galloping
topics.
is dumb. I call this the Rob Nor
Should
rule.
be fun.
In this case, that means you have to keep your speaking time under 2 minutes. At 90 seconds, I will give you this little signal that you have 30 seconds remaining. And then at 10 seconds, I'll give you this little signal that you have 10 seconds remaining. And at 2 minutes, I'll yell at you to finish your sentence. And if you keep going, I'll scream at you or I'll mute you.
Are those cards improving in quality? I think that they look a little better this
Keep
time.
improving, right? Like you before.
Yeah, they're actually the production quality is moving on up there, buddy. I noticed it right away.
See,
Went from backwards cards to rightwards cards to rightward cards in bold.
Biggs cares about me, all right?
I do.
He understands the grind, all right? And then interruption sometimes. Please don't interrupt someone while they're speaking. If you have a specific question or contention, just say a quick response after they're done while I'm throwing it to the next person, and then you can ask their question, get all that sort of stuff done. If someone calls you out, if someone says, yo, Rosewrist's lighting is giving me nightmares, and he's a big dummy dumbhead, we have to give him a full 2 minutes to respond to anything that someone says.
We need
I
to
was
put
a
a-
joke, buddy. I love you. I'm not trying to bully you. Oh my gosh. Now
I know. I was playing along. Don't worry. I'm not gonna
Hans
do that.
needs a seizure warning for his channel now, I think.
Or whenever I
it's
turn
like-
on the
I bully children and then I make them go to school. He's not a child though, but he's still a minor. So everyone, just keep that in mind on the panel in terms of being spicy. We have a 17-year-old on the panel tonight, okay? And he's more well researched than like literally everybody here. So like no one talk shit either. All right?
Yeah, probably.
He'll blow you out.
Wait, isn't
all
he
right.
from Europe?
Yeah, damn right.
Oh,
EU
so then
education,
you're like
motherfucker. Look,
you're an adult
if I
then.
were to win this debate, whenever
Hey,
you guys say anything,
You
all I
can
have to say
drink. If you
No,
you can drink,
depending
you're
on
an
where I am,
adult,
no.
man. Okay.
Not at the minute. I couldn't drink from Sweden, where I was originally from,
Huge
nor right
drinking
now in the
problem at,
Netherlands,
like,
where I'm this
10.
side. Obviously, I would never drink anything illegally. I would spontaneously combust should I drink underage. But regardless of that,
I definitely don't participate in illegal activities.
So true.
Exactly.
No illegal activities happening right now.
Never.
And
And
if I
then-
really need to win the debate after any statement from yours, I'll just say NA education moment, and then just leave the floor, and I think I'll be good enough.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then if the question or the call out goes into like a longer conversation, I'll normally give it about 4 to 5 minutes before I pull it back to our regular discussion. I will only be moderating. So, rightoids, have no fear. I love you. You're safe here. I will not jump in to tell you how your ideas are big, dumb, and bad. Because I don't want people to think that I'm a biased mod. So, does everyone understand the rules? Give me a thumbs up if you do. All right, awesome sauce. All right, I will read them again at half speed explicitly for Sprouticus. Discussion format. Intros and outros. 1 minute uninterrupted for opening. Oh, he figured it out.
It was the first. It was the first sentence. It was the
Oh my
first sentence.
gosh.
I didn't quite get. I got it now.
Thanks, buddy. All right. So, with all that actually out of the way now, we're gonna go the order that I described previously. Sprout, 75 seconds. The Haitian migrant stuff, and how do we reform our existing border patrol and mechanisms of enforcing immigration and border policy? And if we do that, how should we do that, or should we not do that at all? 75 seconds on the clock, buddy. Go ahead.
Okay, so first off, I need to address your question and let you know that your question actually has some disinformation in it. The question says that they were using whips. It's come out they were not using whips. They were holding on to reins to control the horse. So these are not whips. They're not going around whipping Haitian immigrants that were trying to get onto the United States. That was not happening.
That's
And
excellent.
Even
Thank you.
the
I didn't know that.
photographer, even the photographer,
Of course.
responding to KTSM TV says that he didn't see the agents whipping anyone. So with all that being said, I think that the border control agents were trying to stop immigrants from entering the country. I don't think there was anything nefarious in this action. I think that the border immigrants were just fine in what they were doing. I think that they were trying to stop illegal immigration, which is their job. I didn't see anyone get hurt. I didn't see anyone get even kind of bruised from this. One person fell back into the lake, but as much as I know, as far as injuries. So I think the border control did a good job, and I think this should be praised and not gone down upon.
Thank you so much, Sprout. And my apologies for that misinformation. I saw that thing on Twitter like everybody else, and I read that article, and that's a failure of mine. I will explicitly be talking only then about the situation involving the Haitian migrants and the processes and policies of the Border Patrol. Thank you so much, Sprout, for pointing that out for me. I wish you had done that before, but I appreciate the dunk. Destroyed! Hans,
waiting for the
misinformation on his panels. You got me already. What a great
There's
start.
the
Of course.
thumbnail, boys.
I've also noticed no women. So
Oof, that's so true. It's for their safety, you know. Like I don't want to.
Last time you're on this panel.
Like, all right, LSP 75. I am memeing too close to the sun. I am. All right, 75 seconds, buddy. Go ahead.
Firstly, hello everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Yeah, as to the question of how we reform this, I have a hard time fathoming the idea that the wealthiest, most powerful country in the world with the power to totally destroy it 6 times over if it wanted to, when once would be enough, is under threat by an army of starving Haitians. Sending the Border Patrol to round these people up for the purposes of deportation seems a fool's errand to me. These people are fleeing political instability in Haiti, economic instability in Haiti. The president was just recently assassinated. They recently just had a disastrous earthquake. All sorts of reasons they don't want to be in Haiti, and we're standing in the way of them coming to a source of refuge. These people don't need Border Patrol agents. They need doctors. They need food. So, as to the question as to like how we reform this, we take the militarism out of the Border Patrol and we make it a humanitarian organization. That would be the answer.
Thank you so much, LSP. All right, American Nacho.
Yeah, so I also was going to say similar things what Sprout pointed out, which is just that they're just doing their jobs. They're using the horses because that's what they have to use. These are the tools they have to use at the border. You can't be like driving around trucks in the landscape that is the border with all the ravines and everything else, whatever. So yeah, it might look like it's a bad image, but they're just using the tools just the way they do. Nobody has a problem with cops being on horseback riding around at the fucking Mardi Gras and arresting people from horseback there. There shouldn't be any problem with it here. And yeah, they weren't whipping people. The Border Patrol has notoriously been underfunded. So obviously it needs more funding. It needs to be, I probably would say it needs to be its own branch instead of being like under the umbrella of like the DOD or whatever it is. And this isn't something that's just our government, like the Mexican government our southern country mates there, they have a problem with this stuff too. This is not just an issue that is on our side that we just want to kick everybody out. This causes problems for them. The cartel has a multi-billion-dollar industry trafficking people across the border, and that's not going to change without some serious taking the problem seriously, basically. So,
Thank you, Nacho. All right, Rose Wrist. Go ahead, buddy.
Yep, I can start with some things specific to the Haitian situation, then maybe some broader things in regards to border patrol or handling of immigration or refugees generally on the U.S. border. So when it comes to stuff like that, most of it has already been said for the most part. I think one thing that is worth adding here is that I believe that we should have better, scrutiny when it comes to non-federally approved or overlooked sort of like border patrol programs. So, for instance, in Texas, there are programs like Operation Lone Star, for instance, which it's probably a good idea if we have some form of like federal transparency or some form of federal approval there, just so we have an idea of like what's going on in a more transparent way, than having like states individually be able to sanction their own sort of like border patrols to do their thing. But generally, like aside from that, the issues right now when it comes to issues on the southern border of the United States of America, the White House recently put out a 21-step White House plan for the handling of the situations. I think that was a mixed bag, although generally I think it's pretty good. And I think that most of the proposals are probably going to be pretty useful when it comes to handling the current situation. I think the United States of America has to allow for more refugee capacity. The capacity that the Biden administration has said that they want to take in for this year seems fairly low, and it could probably be improved. Then generally things like reversing the policy on deportations, and especially the use of Title 42 as a legal justification for being able to sort of like send back or deport or reject migrants at the southern border, has been criticized by very many institutions, among them, for example, the European Union. The European Union,
Finish
the
the
United
point, buddy.
Nations, for maybe violating international law. So, yeah.
Thank you. And sorry for that. You're just going a little bit over time. No problem at all. Don't worry. The speaking time for the general is like about 45 seconds longer. So like if you feel like that was too short, you'll have more time in the general for the discussion stuff. All right, Biggs, 75 seconds, buddy. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm usually pro small government, but when it comes to things like the border, that's like one of the main functions of the federal government, right? Is to keep a sovereign border. So I think this is something where we can put more money into it. I think having things like better infrastructure, more people involved. I liked what the left was saying. I think that we need to have people like caseworkers involved and like helping people get through these policies and get through these processes to become citizens and apply for refugeeship and all that stuff. But I think that it is one of the main things that the federal government currently is failing at, especially when we had Biden saying during like either right before or right after the actual election and him getting into office was basically saying something like there was surge the border and like having people come here. I know the Haitian crisis is what we're talking about right now, so like that's more of a like a natural phenomenon, with the earthquake and stuff like that, and also like you said the stuff with the political unrest. But I think we need to have a better process for these people to get there. But I think the federal government is currently failing at protecting our border, and that's why we need to have more people and more infrastructure.
Thank you so much, Biggs. All right, Zan is the last one for the opening statements. Everyone is now welcome to start raising their hand while he's speaking to be put on the list for the general, which will be about 40 minutes long. So LSP was first. I see literally everybody. So it's going to be LSP, Sprout, American Nacho, Rose, and then
Dan was
Biggs.
before me, so we could give it
Zan was before him? Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool. Okay, cool. All right, so I'll put everyone on the list in that specific order. Zan, 75 seconds for your opening statement, buddy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to start by saying Sprout is right about the photographer coming out and saying that he did not see anybody whipping immigrants or refugees at the border. However, there is still an investigation going down. And he did say that it's understandable people saw it that way because he was swinging that thing around and did look that way. But I don't. One thing I want to say is I don't know why conservatives take such a hard stance against illegal immigration. Most immigrants that are coming from south of the border are going to vote more along the lines that they agree with, as far as like traditional values and whatnot go. So that's actually something that's always confused me. As for the way the border patrol acts and how we deal with problems coming up from south of the border, it seems like there's a lot of other policies and other methods we can go through besides deporting and trying to get rid of these immigrants, illegal or otherwise, to try to solve these problems, as just criminalizing these people seems to cause greater problems than not.
Thank you so much, Zan. All right, bring in the spice. So right now our list is going to be LSP, Sprout, Nacho, Zan, Rose, and then Biggs. Remember, you can't be on the list twice. So it's pretty stacked. Like I said, our general is going to be for about 40 minutes. If we want to continue it for longer, I'll ask if people are still heated and want to keep going at about 10 minutes left, and we'll see where we all feel about it then. So, all right, LSP, 2 minutes on the clock, buddy. Go ahead.
But you just said I get 40 minutes. Oh, okay. So
40 minutes.
thing I wanted to respond to, like the big thing that immediately set off alarm bells, was an American.
All right, Sprout, go ahead. Just wait, so no, LSP, it's okay. Go ahead, buddy. I'm sorry.
Oh, the thing that immediately set. You're lucky you're adorable. So the thing that immediately set off alarm bells in my head was an American Nacho's opening statement. He described the Border Patrol as a massively underfunded agency. So I decided, go look it up, because that doesn't sound right. There's no way. We've experienced such a surge in immigration since the noughties, since the turn of the century. There's just no way. So I did. Immediately, I found our Border Patrol budget has tripled since the year 2000. It's been quite an increase. And Border Patrol staffing, likewise, has well more than tripled. We are certainly not an understaffed, underfunded Border Patrol. Beyond that, I would just echo Zan's point. Like the costs of criminalizing the movement of people seems to be, it seems misplaced. That there's so much, all you're doing is making criminals of people who could otherwise be useful to this country, this society. If you were truly an American nationalist, you would take this to heart, that maybe you can reappropriate some labor in better areas. These people want to come here, and there's certainly businesses that want these people here. It grows the economy. Why not integrate these people in better?
Thank you.
That's like a minute.
Yeah, and that was directed like specifically at Sprout, right?
No, American. I was responding to American Nacho's opening where he said Border Patrol was underfunded. It's not.
Oh, okay.
I'll put the thing in the sources.
Yeah.
No worries. Nacho, I'll give you about like 1 minute to respond. Maybe like a brief back and forth if you really need to, and then we're gonna throw it to Sprout. So
yeah, just really quickly, like their budget has tripled and their staffing has tripled, but it's gone from like in places like Arizona where they have like one of the largest expanses of the border, they went from like 2,500 Border Patrol agents in like somewhere in the 80s to like 15,000 today. Like it's not like this like you're covering thousands of miles of border, so it's like tripling 100. Like okay, you have 300 now. Like yes, it's increased, but it needs to increase more, and it needs to be taken more seriously, and it probably needs to be removed out from just the umbrella of the I can't remember which department's under, but it's not its own entity. Like we don't have a separate system for immigration. So that's what I'm saying when I was pointing that out, is that this needs to be its own thing. It needs to have its own separate budget from this, and not just be under the. You know, does that make sense?
Zan, I see you. If someone could look up in Google what department it's under, just to make sure for the purpose of this conversation that we're not spreading any more misinformation than necessary. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, Department of Homeland Security. That's what it is.
Okay, cool.
I'm sorry. Am I allowed to respond or?
Brief last word.
It says here,
I only need like 30
the
seconds.
number of border.
I don't know that
interior
making it
enforcement
its own
officers stands
agency
at
is
more
going to
than
solve any of the problems with
50,000.
funding you seem to think exist. As for your claim that like the
With
Southwest
ICE and
border, like you specifically brought up
CBP
Arizona,
employing
you can see its growth. Like what I
84,000
linked
people in
shows you
total.
its growth over time, right? It doesn't seem like it's going down. It's only going one direction. You can see the fiscal year 2020 at the end, and you compare that with fiscal year. You could go with like 2000 or 1992. We're employing plenty of Border Patrol agents. The issue at the border is not one of security; it's one of politics. This is not a problem for law enforcement. This is a problem for our political leaders to solve.
Thank you, LSP. All right, now we're gonna throw it to Sprout. Go ahead, buddy.
Okay. So this is kind of in response to what Xander Hall said. Like, why is the right not more in for illegal immigration if people from the South are going to vote that way when they come into the nation? I'll give you one very simple reason that the right is against it. Besides that reason aside from that reason, is that we don't want people to come into the nation and be absolute monsters similar to MS-13. I'm not saying everyone who come across is a monster. I'm saying that everyone who come across illegal has a higher chance of being like MS-13 or someone who's going to do danger in our country. Aside from that, I do want people who are not in America to be able to get into America. Unfortunately, we have a very long line and you're slotted to wait in that line for God knows how long, and to where some countries call it winning the lottery. It's a lottery to go over to America. So just take those into heart. But that's the end of mine.
Okay. Xander Hall, you were added. You're welcome to briefly respond before we throw it to Nacho.
Yeah, so these large criminal gangs such as MS-13 have so much power and so much resources behind them that like cracking down on these random immigrants trying to cross over the border is not going to affect them. They've got the money, they've got the resources to get in here, get whatever they want to get in here, however they like. They come in through ports of entry. They have, as many people here know, I'm sure, they have the government, the Mexican government, in their pocket. They have plenty of power to get in no matter what. They can get in legally, and even when it comes to most illegal immigration, most of it is done through legal ports of entry, overstaying visas and whatnot. This is just not a realistic expectation on how to stop like criminal gangs like MS-13 from getting in or getting drugs or human trafficking in. The best way to do this would be to decriminalize these immigrants that they feel safe enough to go to the police and snitch on these organizations like MS-13.
And I would be 100. Oh, sorry.
No. I'll give you both another 2 minutes just for a back and forth, however you want to do it. And then we'll throw it to Nacho.
Okay. No, I think you bring up a good point. I think that illegals shouldn't be afraid to go to the police. I think if the illegals are going to the police about something, then that information cannot be used against them. If they come out and say that they don't have, that they're not legally in the country, that cannot be used against them for reporting a crime.
Even if that's true, though, how many cases do you think there've been for example, like a bunch of friends are at a party and one of them has a drug overdose and they don't go to the police because they're scared they're going to get in trouble, even though chances are they won't if they just call the cops and leave. The threat of possible legal, well, that doesn't matter though, because the threat of possible legal ramifications for turning in or giving any info to the police or the government about these gangs it's scary. You know, it's like, do I really want to risk it? They're not going to do it. They're just not.
So what if we make it like legal for them that there will be no there'll be no action taken against them if they report to the police if they're
That's
in this
sanctuary cities. Do you support sanctuary cities?
That's not sanctuary cities though. Sanctuary cities means that they're not going to help the federal government look for any immigrant, not just the ones that aren't violent and the ones that are reporting crimes. That's not a sanctuary city.
Right.
I mean, it seems like sanctuary cities are where a lot of immigrants like to go because they feel safer there. When there's a risk, when you're like an illegal immigrant, and there's a risk that if you come into contact and start discussing these types of things with the government, there's always going to be that thought at the back of your head, like, fuck, I'm not like naturalized. I'm not like a full-on legal immigrant here. They've got my name and shit. They've got me in the system. They're going to be worried about shit like that, regardless of how realistic those expectations are.
Isn't that what we
still
want,
going to be a
though?
massive
We want them to
worry.
be in
And
the
some of
system
the
and
largest
pay
criminal
taxes and
gangs
stuff?
in history have been taken down by informants and
know.
snitches. So you don't want to make these people too afraid to
Snitches
come
get
out and say,
stitches.
"Hey, yeah, this is what's up."
Sprout, brief final word. Then we're gonna throw it to Nacho.
Okay. I just think that I think if we make it public, then they will be more enthused to tell the police about crimes that are going on. I'm pretty sure legal immigrants, just like American citizens, don't want to live in a city full of crime. And so with that being said, I just think that, yeah, I think that would be a good solution if it's publicly said to where illegal immigrants understand that. They'd be able to help us report crimes and just not have that used against them at that time. If it comes up at a different time, they're a legal immigrant, they're an illegal immigrant, then it can be actionable, but not that specific time.
All right. Thank you, Nacho. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Sprout. We're gonna throw it now to Nacho and then Zan. Go ahead.
Yeah, so like the Biden administration what?
Wait, what is it, Rose Wrist?
I think wasn't me and Biggs gonna be next? Because
No,
we haven't.
you said that
We're still
Zan.
going the list.
We're going down the list, but if someone, we were going down the list, and the list was because you said Zan was in front of you. The list was LSP, Sprout, Nacho, Zan, Rose, and Biggs. But if you pick a fight with somebody and ask someone like a specific question, they have to clarify. That doesn't count as their time on the list. Like if someone asked you a question, you responded, I wouldn't take you off the list because I feel like most people
loaded up now though, so ready to go. But go for it, Nacho.
no problem at all.
I totally fucking brain farted on what I was gonna say. I was like ready to go.
It's because of my interruption. I'm
Yeah. No, go ahead though. It's fine. I'll remember it. It'll come back to me. I made notes.
All right, no worries. Zan, go ahead. Again.
Oh, I was gonna respond to what Sprout said. From my understanding, most illegal immigrants commit less crime than native-born American citizens, most likely due to the fact that they're already treading on thin ice in their minds. Like, if I get into legal trouble, I mean, God knows what could happen next. Most of the people coming over the border are not criminals.
Okay, we should just take that as a fact. Say, come on into our country. It's a completely open border. Just
Well, don't we have
walk right
police
on
here
over.
to deal with crime?
Yes, but should we allow the people who did 9/11 to enter the country?
Probably not. Who did
Well,
9/11?
they're dead. What do you mean? Like they can't do
I'm
two
saying-
9/11s. They already
well,
died.
But I'm saying, would you have liked them to be in the country? Would you have liked there to be no vetting? And
I don't think
people
anyone's
like
talking
that
about no
just
vetting.
walk
Was there vetting before 9/11 as well?
There was vetting, but what I'm saying is someone who gets through vetting, okay, would you like that to happen, yes or no?
Wait, is anyone talking
For
about getting rid
people
of
to
the
go
vetting
through
process?
vetting?
Hold
Yeah,
on.
some kind of vetting would be
No,
nice.
no, not for
Okay.
vetting. I'm asking, like, if they were to not go through vetting, and I mean, I guess if they were to just come on over, yeah, not go through vetting, and just open border. If the border's open, we tore down all the walls so you can literally just walk across, and then you're supposed to go to these vetting stations. People skip between it, right? Do you want that happening?
Probably not.
Okay, so
I mean,
I
it
don't know
depends.
why.
Obviously, like most of the people who are going to cause any serious problem are going to get in anyway, right? We're like, I'm not fully caught up on it because I was a little baby shitting in a diaper when 9/11 happened, but I'm pretty sure the people who hijacked those planes weren't American citizens, were they?
They immigrated
Oh,
legally and they were vetted.
Oh,
I
well, that
understand
actually
vetting, they were vetted.
offers more to my
Vetting-
point. Yeah,
the vetting in
people who want to do
2000
bad shit are going to
listen,
get
the
in no matter
vetting-
what.
The vetting in 2000 was much less than the vetting now. I can attest to that. The vetting in
Well,
2000
yeah, after
is much
9/11,
less
things
than
have
was
gotten way
vetting.
crazy.
Yeah, okay. So someone who even gets through vetting, then would not get through vetting now. I don't think that we would have the people who did 9/11 in the country now. I'm just saying that people should be able to walk across, not be vetted, like what's happening. They're just literally released into the country and be like, okay, yeah, just come for your court date. But it's ridiculous.
So
thank
should
you. We're gonna
criminals here in America? Sorry, I just want to ask this question.
Yeah,
Should
well,
criminals,
last one.
should citizens who commit crimes be deported?
Citizens, where would they
What's
be
up,
deported
Crunch
to?
Lord? How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, somewhere. Why would
I'm gonna
you
put
want
them in
them
their
deported?
place
Right?
here
If there
in
was
a
like a
minute,
pocket
just when it
dimension
gets to my
you
turn.
wanted to, would you want them out of
sense.
the
Put 'em
The question
country?
makes
down.
absolutely no sense because that
Like
means
I'm
they
asking
come
you if you'd
from
Like
want
a
them out
somewhere.
of the
rabid
country.
dog, I'm gonna put them down.
No, they're citizens
The
of
one
this
thing that's
country.
nice though is
Okay, so you
being
think
on a
that
panel like this, I don't
citizenship
really have to
kind
worry
of
so much about what I say
offers
because there's
something
no
to
women
someone's
or
like rights to
minorities,
be
so-
here, their humanity to some degree?
Being a legal citizen
Funny.
does, not necessarily citizenship, or a legal resident, I should say, not necessarily citizenship.
So
Not-
you attach some like moral worth to being a citizen over being an illegal immigrant?
A citizen was born here and called this place home, or immigrated here and then stayed here for a certain amount of time. I don't know how long the time is, so you can come up with that stat by yourself. But stay here
Okay,
amount
just
of
curious.
time and pass the citizenship test. Now they're a citizen. It's not just people who are born in America that happens, but I think citizens, yes, are more important than legal residents. Legal residents are more important than illegal aliens. Like that's the rank structure in my mind.
All right, we're gonna pull it back now. If you want to use the expatriation thing, the best example that is the Phantom Zone from Superman. They can put like people in there from any like point in time, and it's like it's own little pocket dimension. We can call it the Phantom Zone. Rose has been waiting extremely patiently. We're gonna throw it to Rose and then to Big. So go ahead, buddy.
All right, got a big notepad locked and loaded here. Okay, so when it comes to the first conflict, which was between Nacho and LSP, when it comes to the funding at the border, it's true the budget has multiplied by 3, but there still seems to be some forms of issue when it comes to workload. So, for instance, when you look at the performance or just general experiences from people working through Border Patrol, things like, for instance, like their suicide rate is astronomically higher than most other professions in the country. It's 3 times higher than that of an average law enforcement officer. And from just like general testimonials and statements that's been made from border enforcement agencies, there seems to be some issue when it comes to like workload or employment or stuff like that. So yeah, there is a bit to talk about here, but there is certainly some issues when it comes to like issues in relation to this. Now, solution to that though are some of the more long-term solutions we can do to change the way border patrol agencies function in the United States of America. So things like, for instance, doing things like abolishing the drug war is absolutely going to cut on at least on more of the dangerous
Oh
jobs
no,
that the drug
they
patrol
talked about the
agency have
drug
to,
war.
like,
It's
go out and
CTV.
do. It's going to incur like a lesser like stress level or threat to the life to people that do the border patrol stuff. Generally, things like more like collaboration within trade partnerships or maybe working within
You just need
existing
to get
ones
on,
like
man.
the
You just need to
USMCA
get on and
in
do
order
some
to like delegate responsibilities
some
or funding to
smoozing.
make
Get
more
in the
areas more
Discords
like
and stuff,
desirable
and
to a larger range of people.
I know
trying
you
to
do
solve
some
maybe
panels,
core
but
issues in
you
relation
troll
to,
a lot, so
to Mexico or countries from the southern border. A lot of it stems back to the drug war, so there's that as well. And then just general rehauling of immigration processing. So, for example, looking into things like naturalization, looking into other ports of entry, especially other ports of entry where there's more like drug trafficking and stuff going on than the southern border necessarily. So yeah, that would be sort of my my other solution to that type of issue when it comes to overworking of border patrol agencies. Now, when it comes to what Spartacus said, when it comes to crime rates and stuff like that, and MS-13 and stuff like that, I will say NA education moment on this one, because like literally all the, at least the reputable literature on this topic says that the per capita likelihood of committing crime among illegal migrants is even lower than that of native-born citizens. And also this goes for drug offenses as well. For MS-13, a big reason behind that is probably due to the drug war. So that would probably be the most effective way to cancel that, not by attacking like illegal migrants, so to say.
I could dunk on
Now, when
you,
it comes to
Crunch,
the
by the
fact
way.
that things like, they can't be used against them if they go forth and they like report a crime, then they can't be like deported or whatever because they outed themselves as an illegal migrant. Even if that were, I'm not quite sure if that's the case. I'm not like I wasn't aware of this beforehand, but despite this being the case, probably there are still another conflationary factors there that still prevent or disincentivize that from happening. So, for instance, stuff like familiarity with the laws, like what you just talked about, could be one of the reasons. Trust the police could be another one.
So this guy's getting pounded.
And last thing on vetting in 9/11, no one's talking about getting rid of vetting, and I don't know what we're talking about 9/11. I wasn't even born then. I was -2 years old at that time. So.
Oh my god, these fucking babies!
It's good to know
you guys are
are
babies, just little babies.
Fair enough.
All right. Thank you so much, Rose Wrist. We're going now to Biggs. Biggs is the last person on the list, so everyone, remember to if you want to keep engage in the conversation, keep raising them hands. Yep. So I see Sprout, and then Nacho, and then Rose. So we're gonna go to Biggs, and then we're gonna go to Sprout, Nacho, and then back to Rose Wrist. So Biggs, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah. So one thing that I think that all of us can agree on is, and again, this may be something we talk about later on, but immigration is a good thing, right? If we have positions that need to be filled for labor, especially things like farming labor, low skill labor, like having immigration is a good thing. However, we do need to have some vetting, like you said, Rose, and you're not against vetting. Obviously, I don't think anybody here is against vetting, but I think there needs to be a process, and I think one thing we can do is streamline that process to help make it easier and less convoluted to become a citizen. What I think we're seeing now is we're having these people rush the border with these asylum claims and things like that, and obviously we do feel for them, and as LSP kind of said at the beginning, kind of like lending to the humanity of things. Like, obviously we don't nobody here wants to see people suffering, but we have to have a process, and that's the thing that people, I think, on the left, they want to make it so easy that we can just let these people come. But the problem is we need to have a way to help them succeed, along with helping make sure we're keeping our country safe. But one of the things that I also think we're completely missing with this, and I kind of looked into some information, is why are these people coming to America, right? Like, obviously America is, to me, I think, one of the best places to live in the world, but they're coming through countries like Mexico. And I did a quick Google search. The average Haitian income is anywhere on, it's a spectrum. So anywhere I saw from $1,200 a year to $7,000 a year, right? So obviously that's pretty low income, right? That's poverty level income. These people are barely surviving. You look at Mexico and it jumps up to $16,000. So what I don't understand is if these people can make lives in Mexico and things like that, and that's typically what we have as far as immigration policy and refugee policy, is they're supposed to go to the first country that they step onto that's able to help them and accept them, right? But these people are coming to America because of policies and because of rhetoric that people like Joe Biden have said when they're saying surge the border. They're saying we're going to let all these people in. Now, I am all for, if people are already here and they're making, income and they're, paying taxes, like, obviously I think there should be a process to get them citizenship. But I think these people trying to skip the line and bypass those processes are a problem, especially when they're unaccounted for and they're not properly vetted and go through the process.
Right. Thank you, Biggs.
Quick follow-up, one sentence.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone, remember, you're allowed to say quick response, like if you have a clarifying question, like while I'm throwing it to like the next person. So yeah, go ahead, Rose.
Yeah, I don't think that characterization of Biden's opinion on what's going on right now at the border fits at all. Biden has actually on multiple occasions explicitly like discouraged people from coming to the United States of America right now and said, "Hey, we're setting it up. Don't come to the U.S. right now because we're not ready."
Do you disagree that he has said it within the last 12 months? Surge the border, come here. He said both things, correct?
He probably said both things, but when you said it like that, it sounded
sure.
like it was just one thing at the exclusion of the other. So I'm saying the most.
So what do you think desperate people would be wanting to do?
Yeah, I mean, once they took office, then they said, "Hey, please stop coming to the border." But the whole campaign, it was like, "Yeah, we need to let everybody in," and everybody on the left and all the Democrats are basically like damning Trump. Like, can you imagine right now if if people were riding on horseback and capturing people and Trump was in office? The memes would be off the charts. The political cartoons, it would be like images beside the KKK. Like, but at least leftists would be at the border.
Okay, so for example, the reasoning behind that, why like the rhetoric or like the discussions of this change, is because you have seen like a very big, what you're talking about. If you're going to talk about like the rhetoric, like before Biden's election, like I don't know if people are going to make decisions on whether or not they want to make the entire migration before you even knew who was going to like win for president, right? But other reasons why the rhetoric has changed is because the migration wave and the amount has changed dramatically. And this has been because of things like further fallout from COVID when it comes to economic
the blanket
recessions.
Is so amazing.
People that have been deported under Title 42 by Donald Trump returning because Title 42 is not a good way to handle anything in relation to that. And then there's also some last-minute Trump policies that took place before Biden stepped into office that dismantled some of the systems that are very important for handling migrants, such as, for example, shelters.
Can I just ask, what's your contention with Title 42? Because as I understand it, we're only doing that because of COVID, wasn't it?
Well, no, it's been used for like 4 years of Trump as well, and it's garnered a lot of international criticism. So, for instance, the United Nations have come out and say that the current handling of the status of the southern border, and especially the invocation of Title 42, may be violating international laws, and that's from like a UN spokesperson. So there seems to be some issues in regards to that.
But before, I assume Title 42 is going to come up more than just this one time. If you could, if someone could please read that and then link it in chat for everybody in the Twitch channel, just so they all understand what we're talking about when we refer to Title 42 for the purpose of this conversation. So
I'll look it up and I'll read it.
I got it right here. It says the program allows United States Border Patrol and U.S. Customs to prohibit entry of a person who potentially poses a health risk, either due by virtue of subject to previously announced travel restrictions or because they unlawfully entered the country to bypass health screening measures.
Thank you, Biggs. All right, we're now going to throw it to Sprout, then Nacho, then Rose, then LSP, and then Zan. Go ahead. Also, everybody.
That blanket is amazing, by the way, LSP. I just want to tell you that.
Beautiful, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. It is. If it was Hans's face, though, it would be better. But that's definitely a 9 out of 10.
I don't know. I've been told my face is like my worst feature. I've been told I have a butter face, but like
they're liars.
But this is for the six. This is for the six of you, all of you. We've literally been doing this for 30 minutes. We have 10 minutes left for the general. Would everyone want to extend this by, let's say, like another 15 minutes? Because I feel like this conversation is like pretty good, and we're probably not going to be able to get like everything that we said. All right, cool. So it's pretty clear at this point we're not going to get to our bonus third topic, but I appreciate the good conversation that we're doing with this one. So go, now that everyone agrees with that, go ahead, Sprout.
I'll raise my hand.
All right, it'd be a butt his face, but it's okay. So I think that legal immigration should take precedence over illegal immigration. Illegal immigrants, if we don't have spots for them in our country, should not be here. And then if we do have spots for them, they should immigrate legally. If we're talking about how many legal immigrants we take in a year, because there is a cap to that. If we're talking about raising that cap and accepting more legal immigrants per year, per country, whatever you want to do legally, I think the conservatives would be for that. It's
How's
the
everybody
part
doing
where it
tonight?
becomes illegal immigration.
Is everybody having a good Saturday?
Most illegal immigrants don't get vetted.
I hope so. I'm having a great night. I had my parents over for dinner. I made my award-winning chili.
Literally in our country illegally. I realized the max amount of illegal immigrants actually have
some cheese, some fucking
a
crackers, a little sour cream dollop,
and then stayed past their amount of time or got like some kind of scholarship.
Watch Michigan beat Rutgers, so they're fucking 4-0,
anything like that.
3-0 or 4-0.
But I think that I'm focusing on we're all focusing on the wall. So what I'm saying is that they come in non-vetted. We've all agreed that it's bad, but then you guys want to say that everyone goes through vetting. Not everyone goes through vetting. Like, it doesn't make sense, and that's why conservatives are like against illegal immigration.
All right, thank you, Sprout. Go ahead, Nacho.
Yeah. So yeah, there was a lot there.
Is this Disney
So
Star Wars
yeah,
Visions?
so
That
I
looks
think the rhetoric
badass.
does have a big issue to play as far as like playing a role into like how many people are coming in here. Yeah, they didn't know who was going to come in here, but when you have what looks like the behavior that Donald Trump was displaying and the way he was like talking about the immigration and all the shit that he said, it was really easy for people to be like, oh, okay, well, obviously, everybody hates this person. Like this is what the majority of the country wants. So I it makes total sense as to why people would search the border, and not just that. Regardless of who is going to be in office, you have the issues with, and I think that's why Title 42 is even being talked about, is because you have people who are running from situations which I understand, like I get on both sides of the coin. Like I want people that want to be here, but at the same time, it's like we do have a legal system that we have to go through, and there are a lot of ways that we could probably improve this. And like all memes aside, yeah, I'm for the wall, and maybe some kind of way to have people come into the country and I don't know, work for immigration. Maybe that's a way that they can help
Service
speedline the
provide
process, because that's another
citizenship.
part of the problem. Sorry, real quick, but another part of the problem is how long it takes to get through the immigration process. Like there was some talk earlier that, where we were talking about basically people not knowing the law. That's a big part of this too. So there are routes that you can go through. There is like asylum. There are ways that you can like request. Whether you're being like abused or whatever the case may be, there's ways. There's a lot of situations where people get into where like they're illegal and they're being like literally held hostage by like an American citizen. Like there's all kinds of like these little loopholes in laws that allow you to come to law enforcement and basically seek asylum here, but it's not like really popular, and it's really scary to try to approach one of these avenues, because if you don't do it the right way, or so many of them, if you don't do it the right way, you can be shut down for another 5 years, or you can be put further back in the line. So a lot of this has to do with like the red tape that is our all of our immigration law combined. So
Thank you, Nacho.
yeah.
Zan, did you have a quick like question or response, or were you just raising your hand to be on the list because you're on the list?
Yeah, I raised it earlier, but we're getting a little further away from the thing that I wanted to respond to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm jumping all over the place because so much was said, but
if you want to like briefly
I
say your
felt like
thing.
I was too. but-
So the purpose of for Zan, for everybody else, the purpose of the quick responses is to ensure that you can ask like your question before the conversation moves too far away, because I know like Zan probably wants this question answered and it might be important for the conversation, so it's better for you to do like the brief interruption, say quick response, answer this question, instead of like say waiting 10 minutes where you either have to like derail the conversation, we have to go back 10 minutes, or you just never get your question answered. So Zan, feel free to ask your question right now before we like move any farther away from this, and then everyone just keep this in mind for the rest of this discussion. That's the primary purpose of quick response, because again, like I know that this is a bit more structured, so like you can't jump in all the time. So I would prefer you ask your quick response like immediately, as opposed to say waiting 10 minutes for your turn and then like going after somebody and asking a question that you probably should have like asked to be clarified like at the beginning. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Go ahead, Zan, with your question.
Yeah, so I forget who it was. I think it might have been Nacho who brought up that under
getting
Biden,
pressed
you've seen
tonight.
the talk about immigration kind of change a lot from when it was under Trump. And I wanted to point out that, yes, during the election, it did seem like the Democrat nominees, and especially Biden and Harris, were way more on board with like, okay, yeah, let them in or whatever. But especially since they've gotten into office, they haven't. They've been mostly the same on most of their positions. There was a clip that went viral of Kamala Harris saying "Do not come" when she was visiting, I think, Honduras, and people have tried to call it out as like hypocrisy, like they flip flopped or whatever. But the broader context of that is, it seems like the Biden administration is more focused on trying to solve the issues in the countries where these asylum seekers and immigrants are coming from, more so than trying to keep them out. And most of the discussion happening back when Trump was
How
president
so?
was about the flagrant language he used about illegal immigrants and the type of hysteria that he was bringing up within a lot of his base. Not so much the idea that like anyone who isn't in favor of illegal immigration is a racist and needs to be flogged.
How are they trying to fix that though? Besides just going
Well,
and doing talking points and things like that, because I've
so
seen
with
them
Honduras, they're
grandstand.
doing a multi-billion-dollar bill that they're going to be giving to the Honduran government, trying to restructure it to try to help with the corruption from the gangs down there.
Okay.
Thank you, Zan, for the question.
Sounds like what we did with Afghanistan. Give them money.
All right, thank you, Zan, for the clarification. Again, that's kind of how you do it. If you have like a specific thing that you like want to ask, make sure you get that while it's happening, so the conversation can keep growing and keep moving along. All right, we're gonna go to Rose Wrist, and then LSP, and then back to Zan, and then to Biggs. Go ahead, Rose Wrist.
Yep. Before I start with the main things, just to mention some things that Biggs was talking about, like, oh, how is the government doing that? Part of this 21-step plan that the Biden administration put out in regards to immigration include a bunch of points on that specifically, so I can read the headlines of these 5-6 bullet points. Number 1, providing humanitarian support to address the acute needs that pressure individuals to abandon their home. Number 2, expanding access to international protection. Number 3, establishing migration resource centers in the Northern Triangle. Number 4, restarting and expanding the Central American Miners Camp program. Number 5, expanding refugee processing in the region. Number 6, expanding access to temporary work visas in the region. And number 7, reducing immigrant visa backlogs. So those are just a few solutions in this new 21-step plan. And then there's this thing that Xandro brought up with the Honduras. That's also, pretty interesting. Now, this is often something that's talked about, and I somewhat agree with this, that like, oh, left, leading people to say they want to change the process, but don't have any really like suggestions on how to do it. And I agree that that's something that happens often. So here's a few long-term solutions for this specifically. Number 1, abolish the drug war. Number 2, leverage trade agreements that you have to have more international collaboration and programs in order to fund and balance out, sort of like geopolitical or pressures in between these countries that may force people to migrate between the 3 different members of the bill, and completely rehaul the immigration processes. So provide an easy path for naturalization to currently residing illegal immigrants, because after all, illegal immigration does not exert a threat to the United States of America. If we're talking economically, if we're talking through crime, it just doesn't seem to be the case. Making legal ports of entries a lot easier and grant better fundings to expedite those processes, allow for more people to be accepted in, for instance, like refugee programs, and revisit Title 42 and stuff like that. Now, another thing that got talked about a lot, and this is often the case, is that the handling between sort of Trump and Biden during the border is kind of equated, which is not really the case. There's a bunch of significant differences between Biden and Trump's handling. So, for instance, the process for admitting kids is expedited dramatically, so they aren't at these camps for as long as they were, nearly as long as they were. They're like 20% there for 20% as long as they went to Trump. So that's one thing. There's no separation of families at the border. There's task forces sent to reunite families that were taken apart during the Trump administration. And there is more policy to allow asylum seekers to remain in the US during processing instead of having to remain in Mexico or wherever while they get processed. So yeah. Generally, also, I want to say this as well. The wall was mentioned. I had a
Rose's last point. Finish your sentence.
This is my lesson. When the wall was mentioned, I had a hard reflection. I really want to talk about the wall at some point. So if we can put a pin in that,
I'm here for it. Yeah, pro wall all the way, baby, all the way across.
We can maybe like have a small discussion about the wall.
Fake news. We need a wall as big as China's. Okay. Actually, wait, bigger than China's. We have to beat China. Okay, it's gotta be bigger than China's by at least 50 feet. Then we will show that America is the best.
Higher like long, because I feel like if like 50 feet longer than
both,
like the Great Wall of China
both,
isn't
Hanz.
like
Hanz, it's both, okay? I want it going into the ocean, and I also want it higher, okay?
That's actually a good impression.
I was gonna say
that was crazy good. Oh my god, that was fun.
That was pretty good. That was a banger. All right, LSP. Go ahead, buddy.
Oh man, I don't know how I'm going to top that performance. There's a lot I wanted to respond to, so maybe I need to use the interjection button more often. But Biggs, so the response I had was Biggs, because earlier he said we need to improve the process to make sure that we're controlling for crime.
I did not say crime. I did not say that.
I
said stream. No, I said streamline. Actually, I'm actually for improving the speed at which people can become citizens.
I did note that,
but I didn't say anything about crime.
Streamlining crime like rhyme with each other. So
I might have.
Sorry. I just want to clarify. I know other people brought up crime, but I did not bring up crime because I know that's a fallacy. I know that's a fallacy.
I wrote you need to improve process to make sure no crime's coming in. Why are people coming to America? And then you said refugee laws says they're supposed to stay in the first safe country.
I did say that. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so I'll throw the crime thing out because I think homeboy Rosewrist more or less addresses the crime thing pretty succinctly. Immigration just lowers crime. It just does deal with it. But when you ask like why are these people coming to America, there's certainly an economic angle that compels these people to come to America. And your remark on refugee law is wrong, right? Refugees are not required to go and stay in the first safe country. I can give you a citation on this if you want, but that's just not the case. So there is an economic benefit to these refugees coming here. that actually is borne out. Immigrants do come here, refugees do come here, and it tends to improve our economy. So if your issue isn't crime, it might be economic, but I might wonder, what would be your qualm with these people coming here in the first place?
To
do I
me
still have time
directly?
yeah, do I still have time to go on, or?
I see you and Biggs are having a back and forth, so I'll give you. I'll let him respond, and then I'll let you have like a brief closing
Okay.
word. Yeah.
Because I wrote down like there were like two things I wanted to like go on, but
So
okay.
basically, I'll just be real quick. So basically, my whole thing is like, I want everybody that wants to come here to be able to get a chance to come here. I think we need to make a process by which people can be able to be brought into America and become citizens. And I think that there needs to be some type of level which we either have like a system where we have people that are more beneficial through like merit, but I also think we obviously have to have some type of thing for like refugees. So that's why we have this like levels of like how many refugees we accept, how many immigrants
Can I
we accept, things like
quick
that.
interject?
Sure.
Well, I might question you. So hypothetically, the Mexican government doesn't want to deal with these people because they got their own problems, what
Sure.
have you, right? So you have to contend with American Nacho, the likes of American Nacho and Sproutacus, I think, who would be the most aggressive against these sort of people. I might ask, what would your response be if?
What do you mean these people?
These, you know what I mean.
I'm
What would your
I'm kidding. Sorry.
What would your response be if I told you that there's compelling evidence that these people will suffer serious injury to their body or maybe even death if they are deported? Would that change anything about like your opinion?
I want to appeal to the humanitarian side of things, but I don't think that's an excuse for people just to come here and just get in for that reason only. Okay.
What would
Like,
be a good
obviously-
enough reason? I'm curious.
Pardon me?
What would be a good enough reason for you? I'm curious.
I mean, why would you? Why would you?
So
Why would you?
what I
if
would
you
say is
wanted- if you like,
they have
Why
all-
would you?
Can I respond? I'll let you go, Zach. But like,
Go
so I think that these people have already gone through Mexico, right? So it's not like they can't get out of their country and out of where they're at. I agree that people need to be able to come to America because I think immigration is good. I'm a libertarian and I want people to be free. So I think everybody should be able to be free, but we still have to have a process. And I think that's where the left and right divide is how extensive that process needs to be. And I fall somewhere in the middle. Like, obviously, I think that a lot of people on the right just want it to be very strict and like literally just like the best of the best can only come here, right? But I understand that there's low income and there's low skilled jobs that need to be filled here, right? We have farming, especially, like we have a lot of agricultural jobs that are done by migrants. We have a lot of other low skilled jobs, right? So we need some form of like of employment and of employment and employable population, right? And right now we have a deficit of that right now. So I think it's good to have immigration, right? Because that fills those roles. But I think there also needs to be a process, and we need to have rules and limitations depending on what type of situation it is. And if you have a refugee, we can only accept so many refugees, right? Because if we literally opened our doors to every refugee from every country in the world, it would be unsustainable, right?
Why do you think we can only accept some refugees? Like, do we?
Do you not think that there would be a ridiculous strain if we literally let every single refugee from around the world come to our country? Don't you think that influx would be detrimental overall, like in a mass rush? Like, I think we need to have a steady trickle, but it doesn't need to be a floodgate, right? Like, I think there needs to be a happy medium.
Talking a floodgate, we're talking Haiti, right? Like,
right, we're talking Haiti specifically for this thing.
not-
Well, I think
wait, guys. Okay, so I'll give you both like one more like 30 seconds for this, and then like I think Rose had a quick response that you want to get in.
Let me just say one thing, and then
go ahead, Biggs.
So I know we're talking about like specifically this like 10 to 15,000 people in Haiti under that bridge in Del Rio, Texas, but we're also you have to consider that there's literally hundreds of thousands of people coming across every month. That is not sustainable, right? Like, obviously we have to have some level of control, but I think, and I agree with you in this respect, we need to have a process that gives people the chance to get citizenship. But you can't have just an open border policy here. That would be detrimental. I think a good controlled flow would be best. What that is debatable, and I'm not like a professional on that subject, so it would be, I don't know what the hard number would be, but there has to be a happy medium.
Okay, so I'm actually going to pull moderator power and table this because this is explicitly relating to topic number 2, which is about the responsibility of the United States and other nations to help people from like war-torn or from natural disaster affected areas. So let's table this and bring that back for topic number 2 because we're starting to bleed. We're starting to bleed into that. So
If we're dropping this, can I ask my second question? Because I never got to.
It's been about 5 minutes. So like, please keep it very quick. Like unless
it's super quick. It's just to Nacho. Because earlier, Nacho, you said Biden campaign said during the campaign, you said the Biden campaign said for everybody to just come in, right? Just immigrants everywhere should just come in, right? I'm wondering if you can provide me a source, or because I'm willing to bet that's not what they said.
I mean, I don't think I said they said that word for word. I wasn't stating that as like a quote. I just said their rhetoric and the attitude of Democrats and the Biden administration, like while campaigning, was basically.
Can you give me an example,
like,
please?
First formal news conference.
Just so I can see what we're talking about.
Okay, Nacho, you don't have to do that right now because I don't want to hold this panel.
It was just a general
Yes, he does.
summation of the rhetoric.
On what was said versus the facts.
Please, like find like the source, and then like send it to. LSP, and then once you find it, we can read it, and then like I'll yell at each other about that. So Rose, you had like a brief contention, 30 to 45 seconds for that. Then we're gonna throw it to Zan, the Biggs, the Sprout, and the Nacho. So go ahead, Rose.
So to be clear, just so we can contextualize like the refugee intake of the United States of America currently, it's at like 40,000. So right now, the Biden administration said that they would be accepting around 60,000 refugees for this year. If we look at comparable numbers historically, we can see under the Obama administration, when the population count just generally in the country was far lower, the economy was smaller than it is today. Like in those situations, Obama had it at 100,000 or 110,000. So there is no good like reason for why we shouldn't at least be able to like double it, so to say. And that's like a conservative guess because it's shrunk massively over the past decade. So there's definitely a lot of place to improve. We're not talking about taking everybody in from all across the world. Plus, not everyone even can come here if they're like a refugee. Like people that are refugees in like like Central Asia or Southeast Asia aren't gonna like just take a plane over to the United States of America. It's gonna be very difficult. But yeah.
Thank you, Rose. All right, we're gonna throw it to Zan, then Biggs, then Sprout, then Nacho. Go ahead, Zan.
What's up? Biggs disappeared?
Yeah, Biggs got up, but it's Zan's turn. So I'll throw it to Biggs like after Zan is done. And if he's not hit back in time, we'll just throw it to Sprout instead. Go ahead, Zan.
Okay, so are these closing statements for the section?
Oh no. We have about 7 minutes left in the general, so I was just gonna let the 4 people that were on the list go, and then we are gonna go to closing statements. If anyone wants to get on the list, in this case, LSP or Rose, if either of you want to get on the list like right now to say something, and then I'll put you on, and that'll be the last part of the general before closing statements. Do either of you want to be on the list?
As for what's being said right now, I can wait until the closing statements.
Okay, I'll put LSP.
Okay,
on.
I'll wait to closing too. Wait, actually, you're right because it's just general.
All right, Zan, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, all I really had to say is just like a summary, I suppose, of my opinion on this, since there's nothing in particular I feel is noteworthy to call out at the moment. I think that there are so many other things that we could be focusing our resources on rather than trying to tighten, like our border patrol and security at the border. Just better ways of solving these problems, because if we don't, then we're going to be having this conversation forever. We're never going to stop having this debate. It's going to go on and on and on and on. We're never going to stop. I think our resources should focus more on trying to help these countries. Obviously, trying to help out with like rooting out corruption in the government. A lot of criminal gangs have like these governments in their pockets, especially like in Mexico and obviously Honduras I brought up earlier. That's more or less all I have to say. I don't think that building the wall is a good idea. It's just a waste of resources when most illegal immigration is happening by overstaying work visas. This has been true since at least 2017, since as far as I'm aware. It just seems like a waste of time to try to expand security in this way.
All right. Okay. And then thank you, Zan. Biggs is not here, so we're going to throw it to Sprout. And then as for the wall, we're currently going to be a bit over time. So are we comfortable going for like longer than what like it's normally said? Because I normally try and keep it to about 2.5 hours. This is going to be pushing 3. Is everyone okay with that?
We push 4.
Okay. I mean, like, all right, I mean, if you guys want to be all right night, like, I'm not going to stop you. Because I know y'all wanted to talk about the wall, and that wasn't a topic. So if we want to make that a topic, like maybe have like a 30-minute like baby topic in the middle of the 2 main ones, we can absolutely do that as well. So, Biggs, Sprout, then Nacho. Go ahead, Biggs.
Yeah, so I'm an old man and I had to use the restroom, so I didn't catch
Oh,
what the
I'm
last.
holding in the shit right now, buddy. Like I'm my asshole is clenched. Go ahead.
Don't worry, I can mod for you while you're gone, Hans. Trust me.
I don't
Just give me,
trust
give me
you.
admins, just give me admins and we're fine. Okay, we're fine.
So, like I kind of was saying before, to kind of get back on the actual topic, because I know Hans didn't want us to go into the next topic yet, but from what LSP was saying about the Border Patrol's funds and things like that going up, I think that's a good thing. Again, like I said, I think the fact that we've seen such a failure on the government side to control this type of situation with the border, and it's making the states have to do things like LSP or like Rose Risk said earlier about I think it was like Project Lone Star or something like that. I think that the government really needs to do more, because we're not only endangering these people, but the law enforcement officers as well, because we put these people in bad situations and things like that. But like the people are struggling that are coming here, right? And I think that obviously we need to take care of them, but we need to have more funding for things like counselors and people that can help them complete the process. Because I think that one thing that people always assume is the amount of money is going to like literally like the people that you saw in those videos with on the horseback, and they're trying to deter people from crossing the border. I think more money needs to go on the actual like legal side of helping these people file the paperwork and things like that, so they can actually achieve what they're looking to do. But I think that's the bigger issue that we're lacking now. And if we can institute more of that, I think it would be better for everybody involved, because I do think these people coming across will be good benefits to society. We've seen time and time again with studies that immigration does improve the economy. Obviously, having more people, having more money to spend, as long as they're being productive people of society, that's what we're looking for. And as a libertarian, I want people to be free. I want them to make money. I want them to provide for themselves and help improve everyone's life.
LSP, I know you raised your hand, but we're currently like about to run over time for the general anyway. So if you like to briefly respond to like Biggs' thing that he asked you about, answer only that. Don't say anything else, and then we will go to the next part. We go to Sprout and then Nacho, and then I'll give everyone. I know everyone has a lot they want to say, so we'll lengthen the closing statements even more. I promise. So
I'll make it as quick as possible. Yeah, I'm always intrigued by a libertarian who thinks it's the way to help people is by growing law enforcement. Right? You say Border Patrol budget is going up, and that's a good thing. This argument is akin to defund the police. It's the issue is what Border Patrol is doing. Those funds are misdirected because the problem at the border is a political problem and not a law enforcement problem.
I literally said that we need more people working like case working, right?
And I was getting into that, but that's,
okay. Sorry, I just want to make sure I'm clear what you're, I don't want to be misconstrued is all.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you both. All right, Sprout.
I just find it really funny how everyone's bringing up like overstaying visas, as that's the large amount of illegal immigrants. I think it's a little bit disingenuous to bring that up, considering the massive security risk we have with undocumented immigrants just coming over the border, and the lessened security risk we have.
It's such
when
a
people
trap,
overstay
Zach.
their,
Don't fall into
green
that.
cards.
Don't fall
see
into the
this
trap.
Massive difference in the risk we're taking when that happens, and so I think it's more correct to be pushed towards fixing the border issue versus fixing the overstayed visas issue.
All right. Thank you, Sprout. All right, Nacho, last word in the general, and then we're moving to closing statements, starting with Zan and then going in the opposite direction of where we started. So, Nacho, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, so the Biden thing, like there was like some things that I think he said during debate or something with Biden specifically, like saying something about coming in or something. I can't find the exact thing, and the only quote is from like a Fox News article, but I'm looking for like the transcript for the like original debate. And then I guess it was on his website.
Just get it to me later, dude. Just get it to me later.
Yeah, the website said was like there was like a quote from his actual campaign website that was like something about welcoming more immigration and asylum seekers and something like that. So it's like to someone who is just looking to come over the border, of course that's like, oh yeah, well it's just gonna be fucking wide open, man. So yeah, that's really and more when I'm speaking on that, like it's more broadly like Democrats in general and their rhetoric I think was generally irresponsible, and you had everybody in the whole fucking team coming out to come to bat for Biden because he couldn't really come out and speak. He was too busy in his fucking basement. So
Yes,
Thank
true.
you, Nacho. We're now going to move to closing statements. So everyone will get 80 seconds uninterrupted. Please try and keep it below that. We're going to start with Zan, and then Biggs, and then Rose Wrist, and then Nacho, and then LSP, and then finishing with Sprout. So if someone ats you during this, someone could say that you're a big dumb dummy fuckhead, and you're not allowed to respond. There's no
I know you are, but what am I?
for ats in this, so
could
use this
call-
wisely and be
I
careful.
could call everyone a big dummy dumbhead because I'm last, so they would have no response.
Excellent. All right, Zan.
Brain.
Dummy Dumbhead starts flying. You say whatever you want to say about everybody and everything. Go ahead.
I hate everybody here. Nah. No. So my main issue that we're getting to in this debate seems to be that we're putting some like moral weight on people and whether or not they're a citizen. It seems like most. Sorry about that, push to talk. Seems like most of the problems that have been pointed out here are all things that we already have issues with here, and the immigrants coming over, illegal or otherwise, are doing less of the bad things than native citizens here, right? Like they're committing less crime, they aren't causing as much trouble. It just doesn't really make sense to me that it's this hardcore party line on the right that like we have to be against illegal immigration this hard. Like I do agree that there is some responsibility that we need to have to maintain a secure border. I mean, obviously, I'm not sure 100% on board with open borders or anything like that. But I still don't understand why the right tends to go so hard against it. Now, some might say racism, but I'm not going to accuse everyone on this panel of racism. I think more of it has to do with like there's an expectation that you have to be against it. Because I find with most conservatives who really think about it for a while, illegal immigration is nowhere near as big of a problem as it's been made out to be.
All right. Thank you so much, Zan. Biggs.
Yes, I'm going to try to get back to the topic at hand. We have a border patrol, we have ICE, we have other policies, other institutions that work with people on the border and immigration and stuff like that, right? I think we need to have a better infrastructure, definitely. I think we have need to have a better process in general of handling these people, and that will include things like having caseworkers for these refugees, for these immigrants, and things like that. I think that if we can do that, and like I said before, kind of addressing LSP's point, and I know he'll have a chance to respond back, is as a libertarian, obviously I do want small government, but I do think this is one of the most vital functions of government is maintaining sovereign borders. So that's why I find it is important. Again, I'm like I said, I'm kind of like a practical libertarian. Obviously, like I know that things in absolutes just don't work, so we need to have a common ground, and we can all agree on we want to help as many people as we can. I would like to see as many people wanting to come to this country be able to get citizenship, but I think they need to follow the process, stick to our laws, and that will be the best way. And if we can improve that and streamline that to make it easier and quicker so people aren't waiting in this line for years and years, that would be the best option. But we do have to have some type of a filter to make sure we don't have bad actors and things like that coming into the country.
Thank you so much, Biggs. All right, Rose Wrist.
Yeah, I mean, most of the things I've already said. I've gone over the list of like long-term or like systemic structural solutions to this like 2 or 3 times. So I'm not going to just repeat that again for my closing statement. The one thing I will say though is that it keeps being said. It's been said multiple times now that undocumented immigrants, that's like a big threat or whatever. But this hasn't been established or substantiated at all yet in the debate. So I would call upon people who say that to try to demonstrate that in the first hand.
Undocumented,
now,
how do you
to
know?
be clear here, okay?
You don't know. That's the thing.
I don't like undocumented immigration. Now, I do recognize that it doesn't have a harmful effect when it comes to either crime or economics, but generally, hey, I would prefer it a fuck ton more if these people were legalized and if they were documented, because those things when it comes to crime and when it comes to economics, the positives they bring as being undocumented immigrants just become exacerbated and just become even
so
better.
Literally, so he
when
says that
legalized.
you can show
sure, I
that
would
they're
prefer,
fine, but
like
we
not to have
would want
undocumented
them to be
immigration.
documented, so
but
they can
then
be
the
fine.
reason
That
why I
doesn't
would
really
prefer
make
it is
sense
because
to me,
then
but sure.
legalization will be even better, not because undocumented immigration is bad. At the end of the day, I would 1,000 times, like sure as fuck, rather have an undocumented immigrant than a deported migrant when it comes from a humanitarian perspective, or when it comes from like a
How would you know?
US,
How would you know if you don't know who it is?
crime,
One person is not the
economic
same
side
as
of
another
things as well.
person.
So yeah.
Thank you,
That's
Rose Wrist.
ridiculous.
All right, American Nacho.
Yeah. So I think it's always funny whenever this gets brought up, like that there's nothing to source that illegal immigrants don't commit as many crimes. Of course they don't, because we don't know they're here. So there's no baseline to judge this off of.
Get them, Nacho.
There's nothing
Get 'em.
for us to say like, oh, hey, well,
Get 'em.
this is how many citizens live in America. We know all these citizens live here
Get
because
'em.
they're legal citizens. There's nothing that we can look at and say like, oh, this is how many illegal immigrants are here total, and this is how many illegal immigrants commit crime, because they're undocumented. So that always gets tossed out. And it's always like, prove it, and it's just bad. Okay, we want legal immigrations. We want people who want to be here, and I don't have any problem with that. The whole like something was said earlier about like only the best of the best. I do share some of this sentiment to some degree, but only because like and I think this is what, even though, or maybe it wasn't what Biggs was intending, but I think this is what I thought he was intending when he asked like, why are they coming here? I think he was just trying to get the left to admit like that this is the best fucking country on the planet, and there's a reason why they want to come here. We got the best of the best. We got all the goodies in the house, and so there is some reason to be like, hey, let's be careful about who we bring in here. We don't want to bring people in here who are gonna fuck this shit up, regardless of where on the planet they come from. We do kind of want the best of the best. So I understand that. But I'm also on the sentiment of like the biggest problem. I think one of the biggest problems with immigration is the process itself. Yeah. So is the process itself being as complicated as it is? It kind of drives the illegal side of it, because instead of going through all the paperwork, it's easier to just go pay the cartel, and that is an unfortunate problem.
Thank you, Nacho. All right, LSP.
Good job, Nacho.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to echo ultimately what Alex and
Of course you are.
have echoed. And by the way, Rose, you are phenomenally good at this. Immigration lowers crime. Immigration grows the economy. That doesn't mean that no immigrant ever commits a crime ever. That's not the case. So, of course, a non-zero number of immigrants are going to commit crime, right? And that doesn't mean there's not going to be any negative externalities from immigration to the economy. There will be, but all in all, immigration grows the economy and immigration lowers crime. So the basis for this severe opposition to it is just flabbergasting and confusing. It has so many more pros than cons. I don't know how conservatives can own all the negatives for guns and realize it's a personal liberties issue, but not with immigration. Biggs says, I'm a libertarian, but the purpose of the state is to maintain a sovereign border. No. Purpose of the border is to denote where jurisdiction ends. It's not to limit or hinder the rights of people to travel. American Nacho says there's nothing to source that illegal immigrants do not commit any crime.
That's fine.
That's not true. There's a National Academy of Sciences mega study.
I think that's
that
wrong.
Looks into basically all of the analysis on immigrant crime, illegal immigration included, and it finds consistently that immigrants commit fewer crimes. If you want the proof, I'll be happy to provide it for you. But you can't say there is no proof. There's plenty of proof. I don't know what to say other than you're just not that well read on the literature. But maybe we'll get to that.
Thank you, LSP. All right, final word on this. Sprout, go ahead, buddy.
Okay, so I can't understand why this is not getting through some people's heads. That the reason the right is scared of just open borders, the reason they're scared of open borders and just the constant inflow, vetted or unvetted, is that people are going to go by unvetted. If we just open this shit up, if we don't keep border security where it needs to be, people are going to go by unvetted. And when people go by unvetted, we then run that huge risk. And it's the same risk that I was referring to, that the illegal immigrants who overstayed their visas or overstayed their green cards, they have much less of a risk than people who enter our border illegally, because they entered our border illegally, just overstayed.
Thank you, Sprout. All right, we are now going to have a 5-minute break. We will return at 9:35. Take a piss, take a shit, get some water, get a drink. I'm going to grab a beer. I will be back. I am not going to mute everybody. So I swear to God, if someone says something that's TOS or racist or some weird shit while I'm gone, I will be like, you think I'm Joker right now? It's over for you. All right.
I'm waiting for him to leave. I'm waiting.
Has this been changed into a drinking stream, Hans? Is that what you're telling me here by getting a beer?
It's a fucking Saturday night. Let me have a fucking beer. Jesus Christ.
What you said earlier, I just had to assume that we devolved into a drinking panel. Right.
I work like 60 hours a week, and man, I'm trying to have a beer, bro.
I know. I also work a lot every week.
You are. I will say that Hans is one of the hardest working Twitch streamer panel hosts of them all,
True.
And he definitely deserves it after this last week he's
had.
Yeah,
now get up and go get a beer, Hans.
Oh, get that.
I do deserve it.
Go get a
Victory
beer.
lap. Anyway, yeah, I'll be real though. I definitely I was scrambling to put this together the last minute because I was a little busy for the last.
That's why
couple,
I'm
like,
here. That's
couple
why I'm here. I'm
days.
the villain.
I was really struggling to put it together at the end. I'll be right back. Everyone be good while I'm gone. Oh, my legs, my hammies are so sore. Oh.
I'll rub them for you.
Hans is gone,
That guy's biceps
gone-
have biceps.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Now that Hans is gone, I'm gonna say some wild shit. All right, some absolute wild shit. And
Let's
then,
just tell him we all
so-
said racist stuff.
So I want to tell you all, hey,
We're racist.
wall.
We're not actually be racist.
No, just tell we went through all the stereotypes and what we call each. We went through that and set up a list of what not to
It's a
say.
whole
I
list.
highly recommend everyone watch the new Wonder Years pilot episode. It was actually amazingly good and well done, I think. Just giving you guys like a pop culture thing. Watch it. It's good.
I recommend the game Eco Global Survival. It's a really good game.
Are you
it
playing
right now. I
games while
just
we're
bought a
talking
license.
right now? Are you playing games?
Yeah.
Oh my
but
gosh.
It's basically, but there's a lot of downtime, so most of the time I'm just sitting there
Typical
while
lefty.
things go.
Doesn't listen, waits for his time to talk, gets his talking points, and
Gets his
then
microphone
goes back to
out,
his
just-
gaming.
Okay,
I'm
to
not
be
with
fair,
him.
I listen to everything like
Mhm.
political. I listen to it while I play video games.
Okay,
It's how I
LSP is
best
literally
hit my brain.
calling out every single one of us three. I haven't heard you call out anybody. Okay, you need to get on LSP's level. All right, Xander Hall. I know you're better than that. Get on his level. Okay, do it.
I still have PTSD from when I got kicked off the Hippy Dippy Championship for that thing.
Hey,
And
you're lucky
so-
you missed the fucking drunk lunatic yelling at everybody. So don't look at it.
Which
that bad.
one?
Oh,
True.
Pog.
Good point.
I already knew who you were talking about. I just wanted you to say it.
I have
Oh,
PTSD
man.
from that, so I don't interrupt.
We all
panels
do,
as much.
friend. We all do.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I was like, I'd say it was probably the best debate performance I've had. Was
Oh
on that
shit!
panel.
Wait.
And then
Can I have to. I'm contractually obligated for Nia Moira to acknowledge that my image in the promo art is a byproduct of a meme. The anime chick with the big boobs. I had no idea what she was doing, and I just threw something out.
That's
I believe
awesome.
you.
That's the best way to do it, though.
So,
to be fair,
while-
just
so
whatever.
while Hans
Here's
is-
an image. Go with it.
While Hans is gone, I have a request from Danabo to do some shilling. So if you like CBD or in constant pain or need some medicine CBD wise, I highly suggest you go visit Shell Shock CBDs and some of their bomb drops. If you enter code Danabo, you will get 10% off.
I'm telling on
shameless.
you. I'm telling on you.
Like a proper capitalist, though, right? Oh god,
I
he's
took a
coming back with
nice
a beer.
little. I took a
Hans.
nice little concentrate pen hit, so I got a little buzz going on. But that's as far as I'm going during the
Hans,
debate.
Sprout is doing ad spots on your channel. Okay.
What?
Yes.
For Danabo.
For Danabo. Okay.
What the
He
fuck,
is
man?
hijacking your stream for his own personal gain and for Danabo's own personal gain. That's capitalism, and I know you're against that, so shut it down, baby.
So true. Yo, Danabo, if you advertise my fucking channel, why am I not on the Hippy Dippy recently? Hey, asshole, what's up? Like, you want to use my fucking airwaves for this shit? You won't even sit.
No, it was
And
my decision. It was my decision to do it. I just do it when I'm on. I just do it when I'm on panels and there's free time.
No worries. All right, everybody, have no fear. All right, got my beer.
How
All
was
right,
your
so-
shit?
Huh?
How was your shit?
Like, I'll be honest.
Ranking 1 out of 10. Go.
Oh,
1 to
3.
10. I guess.
it was-
3.
it was-
If you had to give it like a letter or a symbol, like if you would text somebody what the shape was, what would it have been?
um,
A honeybee. What? What the fuck
Oh
kind
my
of question is that?
no.
You've never sent anybody a text to describe your poo shape?
Okay, I'll be honest. It wasn't a good shit. It was just a lot of like intestinal gas. All right, like I've had a pretty.
Oh
no. I've had
Well,
a
I
pretty.
actually took the best shit yesterday.
so jealous. Like
Isn't that
Was it
satisfying?
an ampersand? Because those are the
Like-
best shits ever.
The ones.
Oh, it came up to almost the lid. Okay, but to be
Oh,
clear,
God.
okay, because I shit like
We
once
call
every
that an
4
escape
days.
artist, okay? That's what we
What
call
the
it, an
fuck
escape
did I
artist.
come back to?
like Zan, just eat some fucking fiber, dude. Like, you gotta be more regular.
I do. It's just how I work. I take
I
massive
eat
shits
fiber,
once every
macaroni
4
and
days.
cheese.
Okay. No,
One
no,
second.
but seriously, you guys know those types of shits where you'll take it and it's like you can kind of still tell there's some left in your intestines. It just feels shitty to have to like stop because you're like, I'm not getting anything else out. Last night I was able to get everything out. It was amazing, just fantastic, just so satisfying.
A full
So happy
cleanse.
I'm so happy for Zan. And yeah, Chad.
High quality discourse going on here.
I have I have a serious case of the protein farts. All right, like fucking, what do you expect?
Hey, everybody, send an enema pack to Hans's PO box, please. He needs an enema pack.
All right. Okay. So we have the responsibilities of the United States topic, and I know a lot of people wanted to talk about the wall. So I'm asking, we're gonna cover both. If everyone's comfortable with that in terms of time. So
I got all night, baby.
What would y'all want to cover first? This will just be like this will be a vote. So raise your hand if you want to cover the wall first.
The wall, as opposed to
Floor.
the responsibility of the United States or any nation accepting refugees.
Yes. So
I think that one first.
We'll do
probably.
both. We'll do both. It's just which one we do first.
Yeah, we're doing both. It's just which one we do first.
Let's get the wall out of the way, and that way we can have more time for the other one, I think.
The wall should
Okay.
take too long.
All right, everybody. So here's how this is gonna work, because I want to like respect everyone's time. So everyone gets a 10-second opening statement for the wall, and then we'll have two say whether you like wall or you don't like wall, and then we can move into the general. Okay? Is that fair for everybody?
Yeah,
Go. We'll have a longer closing statement for everybody, I promise. All right, we're gonna start this one. We're gonna start and end with Rose Wrist. So it's gonna be Rose Wrist, then Nacho, then Zan, then Biggs, then LSP, and then finishing with Sprout. So, Rose Wrist, 10 seconds. Take it away, buddy.
10 seconds. Wall bad.
Thank you. All right, Nacho.
Wall good. Wall has been bipartisan in the past. We're not the only country. Wall good.
All right, Zan.
Wall bad, waste of money, and does not solve the problem it claims to try to solve.
All right, Biggs.
Wall good. Look at all the lefties. If they live behind walls, all the Democratic representatives and senators, they all live behind walls. Wall is good. Wall works.
All right, LSP.
Wall good. My house has walls. No. Wall bad. Wall waste of money. Wall doesn't do anything. Xander Hall correct.
All right, Sprout.
All good. The next thing we need to do is do a dome. That's the next step. After the wall, we put a dome on top of the wall. So
And
All
that's
right,
dome.
we're gonna do a new fun thing. All right. This is gonna be a shit
Lightning
debate. I
round.
already can feel it. All right, you lightning round. You'll have 30 minutes starting right now. I will
go
not
first.
step in unless someone
So
is
I
like
have a
going
question
to kill
for
other
you.
people.
I have a question.
All right.
How many people
All right,
voted
how many-
against the
I think we
wall
can
in
just
the
wait,
Congress?
hold on,
Wait,
who here knows
wait.
anything about history?
How many
Why
Democrats
is
that
it
live
not
behind
stuck by
walls
walls anymore?
voted
I'm really
against
curious.
the wall?
Does anyone know?
All of them. All of them. Literally all of them.
Oh,
Case closed. Argument over.
You should have stepped away. You fucked it.
Next topic, Hans. They already lost it. It's
All
fine.
right. I have a question. I have a question for everyone on the panel. Okay, who's here? Who here is in favor of like wearing a mask for COVID?
I am. In
Okay.
favor of isn't it's effective? Yeah.
Yeah, like you think like just wear a mask, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
so why are you not for a wall then?
Can I explain this? Okay, I have fucking a bunch of notes for this one. In
He's getting
particular, okay?
serious about it. We're just trying to meme.
I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna set up the biggest pitfall possible in case anybody brings up the Trump border wall. And guess what? You guys walked right into it. But anyway, the Trump border wall, okay? Garbage policy for like 16 different reasons. But let's begin, okay?
I thought you were gonna go on that for a second.
Oh no, let me go. Okay. First of all,
wait. Are you gonna read your dissertation?
Wait,
with us?
before you wait,
I'll
just
speedrun that shit. I'll
real quick.
speedrun it.
real quick before you start onto that, mine will be real short. The mask is not a cure all, end all, be all, fucking like dot on the exclamation point to fix it, and neither is the wall. That was the point of like the analogy, right? Like,
Already,
I haven't even supposed to like
There's
kill
some
it.
backpedaling going on.
I know. I'm just trying to point. Like you started to go off into your whole like thing, so I just wanted to hurry up and get that out before you go. So
Alright.
go ahead.
Let's
First
see what
of all-
Rose Wrist's trap card was.
Okay, the Trump border wall is number one, and probably this is the most egregious part of it all, is a geopolitical fucking nightmare. It has disrupted relationships between the U.S. and the Mexican governments to an incredible degree. Whether it comes to recorded messages, well, if you want to care about solving situations when it comes to Mexican,
to be clear, wait, because I want to be clear. I'm not for Trump fucking border wall. I'm just for border wall. Period. Okay, I don't know whatever the fuck Trump had to do it and fucking up the relationship between there. Does that make sense?
Border wall. What U.S. regime do you think of?
I mean, I think of Clinton because that's the first time I heard
Pelosi
of it.
Pelosi was for border walls. Fucking Bernie Sanders was for border walls. He says open immigration was a Koch brothers
any of us
policy.
on this panel worldwide, they were talking about a border wall.
Go?
Democrats and Republicans. That's all I'm saying.
Democrats during that period, they were talking about a wall, and they're talking about how bad illegal immigration was, and it's funny to watch people flip sides. It's hilarious.
Yeah, they were wrong. Illegal immigration is good. They were wrong.
Oh,
illegal immigration is good?
Like a decade ago.
Well,
how is illegal immigration good?
Well, how about it grows the economy and lowers crime?
Illegal
I do
immigration.
Hear what Rose has to say. Okay, I do want to hear it.
Well,
I'm about to become fanatic.
Go ahead, Rose.
Okay, so it has disrupted relationships between the U.S. and Mexican governments. Why is that important? Well, in discussions of immigration, it's pretty important that you have good relationships between the country that's directly to yourself.
But if you put a wall,
it be,
you can say fuck
messages from Mexico's president condemning Trump's executive order on it, canceled meeting and diplomatic meeting on it, or just Twitter feuds. Overall,
Twitter
just not been a good deal. Trump's messaging on this has also sort of signaled with it a bit of, I don't know, fucking yikesy shit. So, for example, he's talked about having the wall be water-filled trenches stocked with snakes or alligators, having the wall be electrified with spikes on top that could pierce human flesh,
landmines and turrets,
shoot migrants if they throw rocks. But then they told him that was illegal. So they said, okay, well, let's shoot them in the leg then to slow them down. And they also said that that's also illegal. So I mean, that's private conversations from Trump with his sort of allies, but it's been taken up in the media so people know about it. So I don't know if that's sending a very good message. Then there is the incompetence aspect of it, which holy fuck.
By the way, is this confirmed? Is this confirmed?
Whether we talk about
is this confirmed? No,
the
past statement you had, President Trump having that conversation, is it confirmed or is it just
I'll
hearsay?
send you the link right now at the moment.
It's just it's not just hearsay.
It's not just hearsay. Trust. Okay.
Did President Trump say he did it?
Did he say he's not going to say that he did it?
Okay.
Probably. I don't know if he's going to be asked. Maybe he did say he asked about it, but I'll send you the link to it in a minute. But regardless, we can start on a list of 90 different things when it comes to incompetence. Whether it's about saying that they're going to make Mexico pay for it, which is just in some ways the solutions he had for that were illegal, in some cases economically unsound, in some cases just impractical. The wall from being an impenetrable wall to virtually impenetrable, to the fact that people could saw through it with cheap materials, cheap tools. And when he got confronted about that, he said, "Well, you can cut through anything but any wall, and you can just put the chunk back in." Bro, what the fuck is that? Then when it comes to the cost, it's estimated to be around 25 billion. And even assuming it significantly decreased illegal immigration, which the researchers mix on that as well, the economic benefits are substantially smaller to that than the cost of the actual wall itself. So on the economic point, it's just a complete fucking failure. It's time consuming as hell. There are 16 different environmental concerns when it comes to the fact that they had to bypass 16 environmental protection acts in order to be able to even allow for the beginning of the construction of this law. There's issues in regards to indigenous land, to public acquisition, private land.
We're not doing fucking
being litigation stuff. It potentially erodes natural buyers and makes patrolling harder from several statements from border officials and stuff like that. It doesn't target the biggest source of illegal immigration, and there's still
do the Green New Deal.
How do you feel about how do you feel
the topic Green New Deal of the wall? I'm curious.
How do you feel about a Ninja Warrior course for the border with other questions intellectual questions and things like that, business questions? I think that would be amazing, because then we could actually have people that actually were able to either be physically or mentally acute, be able to pass the border. So a Ninja War, and then we could televise it and get income from it to fund the border wall. It would be amazing. Right?
Anyone have a counter argument?
Considering that most of the immigrants coming
most of
from
what you were
South
Trump's
America and Mexico,
Trump's idea.
Most of the immigrants coming from south of the border are going to end up working more unskilled labor jobs here, so maybe they'd be able to handle the obstacle course.
They might
build a wall for us.
All jokes aside, probably the biggest reason why the wall is stupid, and I feel like anyone with a background in history knows this, is that walls are antiquated ways of keeping people out of your land. For the most part, there's a reason why cities aren't built with walls around them anymore, even in the most fucked areas typically, and that's because they're antiquated. Now that there's such thing as air support and the ability to fly into a country, walls are just pointless. They're not an effective way of keeping people out.
Yeah, well, so
it's
is
just
walking,
Well,
but
okay,
that's
wait,
how
wait,
most of the
wait,
people
wait,
get
hold
across
on.
the fucking border. Like,
Let me
No,
address that
it's
point.
most
Wait,
people
wait,
are
to
doing
Daniel
that,
Hall's
man.
point.
Like,
Wait.
this
Most
is
people
the
are getting
majority of
past
the
the border
people
by
are
overstaying work
bused to the
visas
fucking border.
or
They're
concealing
dropped off, according to Border Patrol agents. They're bussed up to the fucking border. They're dropped off, and then they just walk. Like, and then there's coyotes along the way that they meet up with that either they give money to personally, or that money is like wired to them. Like, and these people just give them like, here's a gallon of water. Keep walking.
Can
Like,
I quick interject here?
This is
I'm not
unmoderated.
this
Go
is
ahead, LSP.
unmoderated.
Okay,
Like,
well-
I know this
well-
is gonna be a shit show. Like, so, like, you have 20 minutes left. Keep going, boys. Like,
Okay, so then I'll just make a quick interjection and whatnot.
tell me about the alligators. Tell me about the obstacle course.
I'm granting all of this. This is a problem that can be solved just by changing immigration law, so it's easier to cross at a border checkpoint.
okay, sure, fair enough, but like, we can do both. Like, why can't we just build a cheap ass little fucking wall, because it helps our
not
border
only that-
agents too. Like,
not
it's
only
not
that,
just
but
a matter.
The whole point.
and
Wait,
it's,
how about a
and
fence?
it's dangerous. Like, you think that, okay, like, we don't even know, like, when our laws get fucking passed, like, the average U.S. citizen doesn't fucking find out till like fucking 5 or 10 years later. Like, we're all fucking retarded anyways. But like, someone who's in another country
On my stream, please. Thank
So-
you.
Yeah, use a different ableist word.
Yeah, I want to get you.
Sorry.
So
We don't even know how the hell are people from another country gonna know, like, what everyone who is gonna be keeping up with our laws if they're in such dire straits. I'm sure they're not reading, what the next law that's passed in the U.S. is. So they're not even gonna know. So they're still gonna be crossing the border illegally. They're still gonna be crossing in whatever ways they can.
yeah, the whole point of the border wall is to funnel people towards those proper checkpoints and those proper point of entries, right? So that's what
Not
we're
only
trying
that,
to
but if
do.
we add-
And that's why that's why I'm for
And to make
a border
it easier
wall and having more people at those checkpoints to make the process easier. Like, they should be able to bring people in, answer, ask questions, do their whole thing, and it may take a couple days, but like, I think that we need to have that wall to actually get people to the proper points of entry. Because it
I
kind
have
of
a
just
simple question for
Sure.
that entire line of argument, and if this is answered, I will be fucking amazed. Okay.
Sure.
Why should we
It's not
spend
going to be.
25 billion on a big ass wall when we can just spend a fraction of that on effective fencing when it comes to directing people towards good ports of entry? I agree with you. There should probably be some form of
so
barrier.
effective
okay,
fencing,
yeah,
hold on,
fine,
yeah, it's
yeah.
just, okay, yeah,
Yeah, you're
okay.
right. That's
When
fine.
barrier
people
in
say,
general is
people
fine.
say border wall, it's very heavily implied
Doesn't
that they're
have
sort
to
of
be-
carrying over the baggage from like
Sure.
the Trump administration, their
actually
entire
have to
program.
Yeah, no,
on
I'm not-
enforcement.
Whatever
It
is an
very
effective
implied.
way to
It is
funnel
incredibly
people
implied.
towards the port of
No,
entry
it's not
is the
effective.
best.
It's expensive. It doesn't even.
No,
keep
what
people
you're
out.
saying
It's
is a
easy to
fence, right?
Hey,
penetrate.
but you
gotta
just said just some form of effective fencing. Like, that's
Yeah.
fine with me. Like,
Not
we don't
even
need a fucking
effective, but-
armor penetrated
Right,
with
yeah,
fucking
we don't
turrets on
need
the
a
top
fence,
of it.
yeah,
and
we
shit.
don't
Like,
need fucking
and
Castle
why-
Grayskull.
alligators.
Just
like wall.
clarify, we're dropping the alligator
screaming.
movie.
I want to talk news. I want to talk.
I know. 1 second. All right. So this is a question that I just want everyone to answer. Do we understand that
Walls
the-
work.
do we understand that the concept of a border wall has been heavily influenced by the rhetoric and policies of the Trump administration, and that
That
when
is
someone
false.
says
That is completely
when someone
false,
says
Hanz.
border wall, when
No.
someone says border wall, they do not, in this specific case, mean like a fence.
They've been talking about this for
Yes,
decades,
but
Hans. Democrats and Republicans.
Clinton and them
That's
were talking
completely
about it.
false.
They just wanted to.
Okay,
When the
even more
Clinton
basic.
administration
Can,
was talking
can
about
we
it, they just wanted to.
recognize that
They
there's
just
a
wanted to
difference
fence it
between a wall
in,
and a
which
fence?
is fine.
Is there a difference between a wall and a fence?
Sure, yeah. So
Okay,
a barrier,
perfect. So then don't
some
say
barrier
border
on the
wall.
southern
Okay, so we
border.
go from
Do you
border wall
really-
to barrier.
a
Sure,
barrier.
so
So, do
barrier
you really want it to be
generally?
called border fence?
Anything-
So
yes,
you want us to
just
come out here and
to
say we're for the
structure.
border fence?
Border barrier.
vertical-
There's
if-
alliteration
if-
there as well. You got the
vertical
beads of
structure-
border barrier.
Is a
you know?
wall is a wall an effective fence if you have doors in it? Is it an effective fence?
Is a wall an effective fence if it has door in it?
Yeah, if it has a
Wait,
door in the
We're
wall.
getting into like a really
Is
philosophical
it,
question.
if a door
Is
if a
wall
door
a
if wait,
fence?
no, stop.
What
If a
is
door is
a
in a
wall?
So stop. Seriously, if a door's in a wall, it's basically just a brick fence at that point, correct?
If a door has a wall,
Oh,
if a
we're
door
having so
has
much
a wall-
fun.
Wait, a brick fence? What's happening?
A brick fence.
Bricks don't work because they have earthquakes over by
When you think
California
about it,
and shit
a
like that.
door's
That shit
kind of a
doesn't work.
wall.
Yeah, but what even is a fence?
It's kind of a brick fence. Yeah, I don't know. This
Well,
is like
I'm
very
just saying.
philosophical.
I'm just
But
saying.
what
this
is it even to be
It's
real?
the same. So stop. It's the same idea, right? It's the same idea.
I don't have any
wall-
idea what idea you're talking
Okay.
about. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you,
Alright,
right?
very good.
So it's the same idea. Wall with the fence. It's supposed to be to where people can't get past it, right?
Mhm.
And so if that's the idea of a wall and the fence, as long as I can't get past the fence, me, Nacho, and I think Biggs are fine with it. And I was just saying that the brick is basically the wall is basically a brick fence because it serves the same purpose as what you guys are bringing up with the fence. They both serve the same purpose.
Sure, but
Yeah.
then don't
We
say
need
border
fencers
wall,
outside the wall defending the wall.
you're good, and that's fine because. But if you say border wall, it is like this is an incredible degree of bad faith. You're going to tell me that doesn't like imply or carry with it like a large portion of the baggage from the
Unfortunately, yes.
work on it over the past 4 years. So
That's
just
why I
if
tried
we
to
would have
clarify and
opened
be
this and
specific.
we would have said, hey, what do we think of border wall? And you could just say, well, wall bad, barrier good, and we maybe wouldn't have had this discussion.
There we go. Yeah, so that's why I tried to like clarify because I'm like, it doesn't have to be a fucking like platinum fucking steel diamond fence that's impenetrable. Like it's just a fence, just something you could put barbed wire on, whatever, and have it
Xander,
across
you
the border.
okay?
That allows us, while we're constructing it, we're going to be building roads. Then it gives our border patrol agents roads to drive trucks on, so they don't have to be riding fucking horses around with a bunch of terrible imagery of them chasing around people on horses and
Right.
shit.
Look, if we
You know
if
what
we
I mean?
went
Like,
from
we could stick cameras on the fence, then we could see like, hey, there's a hole over here. They're probably coming through here. Now we know where they're coming through. Like, because that's a big problem too. Is that right now it's just a big expanse of desert. Yes, they find footprints, they find tracks, whatever, and they do their best that they can with it. But it's so impossible right now with the way it is for the border patrol to do their job effectively, and just allowing illegal people to enter the country illegally is also not the answer. We want them to participate in society. We don't want them to be segregated into their own little communities because they all know that they're all illegal. Like, because that happens a lot. I can anecdote Andy and share my little this happens a lot. We want them to be tax-paying citizens.
I'm appealing to
and
democracy.
contribute to society.
There's a poll in chat now for everyone that wants to answer it. You can use your regular vote and channel points. What is better, wall, moat, archer towers, horsemen, or a fence?
Vote now on your phones. Continue.
All right, I don't like. Okay, if we went from like border wall, heavy Trump baggage, and we distill that all the way back down to some form of barrier fence-esque thing, then sure, I think we're all fine with that. If we want to throw the concept of the wall out the window, then I think I've done my bit here. The border wall is dumb as fuck, so let's not do that.
Why do all the lefties live in walled communities then? Is my question. If they don't think walls
communities. Everyone on the left lives in a gated community.
No, I'm talking about like the left Congress people and things like that. That's what I'm talking about. Nancy Pelosi.
I will disclose that I lived in a gated community with my parents. And I did everything to get out of there. So
You son of a bitch.
a non-gated.
You're
boy.
being disingenuous. I think you love living in that gated community.
Oh, I hate it. I hate any place. I'm never living in a place with a gate ever
That's
again.
so.
You know
I
how
hate
hard
living
it
in
is?
secure
You know
places.
how hard it is? You know how hard it is to get like an Uber driver or like a delivery person from like Postmates inside the fence and like in the gate to deliver their food?
It's hard for those lesser plebs to come into the gated communities to serve your high-ranking leftiness. Sorry, I thought it was funny in my head.
In all seriousness, I
funny.
make like $50K a year. I'm not like a champagne socialist type.
All right. Okay. Well, hold on. So, I think we're all in agreement. Okay, we can do that. We can do the round thing again, where we're like wall opinions.
Barrier.
And we can all say wall bad and barrier good.
Barrier good.
Go to new topic.
All right. We're going to. This was an excellent segment, and I appreciate all of you. And I think we all understand now why I keep such a tight lid on this ship, because if I let you all speak, we know what happens.
But we have so much fun, Hans. We have so much fun.
With under moderated segments. They're great.
I'll start incorporating one of these for like 20 minutes every panel. I think it's fun. Like, this is a palate cleanser. All right. We're going to do this. All right. Now I'm going to be a generous God and give you 20 seconds for your closing statements. All right. Sprouticus, 20 seconds. Opinions, go.
Wall good, barrier bad, guns good. I yield.
Thank you. LSP.
Wall bad, Archer Tower good, patrolled by Voltron good, more Gundams at border, please.
What if I built?
I don't.
Stop referencing Gundams at me. We know that's a sore point. I was unprepared for that in my last debate. All right, go ahead, Biggs.
I think that having any kind of barrier, whether it be wall, fence, just something to have it controlled is good. Funnel people towards the port of entries is good. Make the process streamline is good. That's it.
Thank you. All right, Zan.
Good things are good and bad things are bad.
True.
The wall's stupid. The wall's stupid, but yeah, I mean.
But is it bad?
It is very bad, yes. It doesn't solve any of the issues that we're trying to get it to. A fence could do that job just as well, although even that is pretty impractical when you think about the amount of land it would have to cover. But no, I do think that directing immigrants more towards legal port of entries and places to seek asylum is better than just having them like cross over in the middle of the desert where there could be like hundreds or dozens of miles between there and where they could find shelter.
Nacho.
Yeah, I think we need to be
I'm
making
glad
the
that,
decisions about this goddamn
Xander all
border situation.
agreed with
We're
us.
coming to some agreements here. Right? That's all I'm gonna say. And something about positive. Somebody told me to say something about positive and negative coercion. All right.
You fucking stop that right now. All right, final word, Rose Wrist. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in the open discussion, we were all like, "Hey, yeah, wall bad," and now we're going to this. No, not a single one on the conservative side said wall bad, but that's okay. Wall bad, some form of barrier to direct.
I'll say wall bad. Okay, barrier good.
There we
All
go,
right,
one.
you
I
happy?
was obviously memeing.
You got
when
me.
when I said
I
gun,
don't
like,
know,
I was
it's-
obviously when I added in
hard to be
guns
sure.
good, I was obviously memeing. Okay.
No talking during closing statements, bro.
No closing statements. Rose Wrist, continue.
You're an American. Guns good could just be like as common as you guys saying like good time or like good morning or whatever. Like I don't fucking know what to do anything with that. Okay, but yeah, border dumb as fuck. Very silly stuff. Probably some form of barrier
Borders
to
are
direct-
dumb as fuck.
Did I say borders?
You
Well, I
did.
meant
Yes.
wall. Well, fuck. Very specific.
In that wall.
Clip it, ship it.
All
I
right.
know.
All right. Final question for the panel, just a show of hands. If we built a fence around the entirety of the United States, does that mean we all technically live inside a gated community?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
We will all be champagne socialists, yes.
Hell yeah.
Based agreement.
The most based
is Ellis-
gated country on the planet. I think he's vomiting.
Okay,
But that's fine.
I was going to ask, like, is he all right? Like,
I like it though. That's yeah.
He left really
I
quick.
almost threw up a
that's-
minute ago
look,
when I inhaled too much.
Chat, don't
recoil.
fall for those debate tactics. Okay, vomiting during the debate doesn't get you extra points.
Crying is acceptable. Vomiting is acceptable. Quitting is not acceptable. We will continue. We
No
will
crying
fight
in
for quitting
esports.
country. Sorry, Zan, what'd you say?
There's no crying in esports.
There isn't, but there is gamer words apparently. Thank you, Nacho. All right, so thank you all for that amazing and very important discussion on the importance of that conversation.
Oh, we're
So
gonna take another
pull
break
that-
because I got old man
Build the
bladder
wall.
going on.
Just build the wall,
If-
okay?
if-
Build
I
the
need,
wall.
I need another beer. So like, take two.
Perfect.
All right. Jesus Christ.
Let's just
Build
drop
the
sandbags
wall
at the
higher.
border, okay?
Hans,
Just-
every time
I
you
am
get a beer, I
disappointed.
take a hit from my weed.
I came in here and I was expecting to see some real pro
You were-
Trump border
you
wall
were
advocacy coming
expecting
from
some
you guys.
real
And you
Trumpers
guys
in here?
pulled it
Build
right
the
away.
Hey,
wall.
look,
You guys were all
I
build
do-
pro wall, and then
Look,
5 minutes, and you're like, well,
I-
not necessarily a wall. Not
Look,
necessarily
I'll
a
admit,
wall.
I used to be a big Trumper, okay? I'm not anymore. It's just, you know,
And
it happens, man.
that's when I stopped supporting you, American Nacho. Okay. I
Hey,
really
come on,
liked-
man.
Really liked your shit until you decided that I wasn't important anymore. Okay, ask my friends. They all know. Okay.
You're getting good at that. I don't think I've ever heard that impression from you till tonight. I love it. Oh man. Yeah, I don't give a fuck about like whatever Trump's ideas were. I just think some kind of after listening because I listened to some outside of this and then because of this topic I went back to it and I listened to some there's like these podcasts that had border patrol agents on them and stuff and I like listened to them talking about it and a lot of the issues can be that they go through can be helped with
you
like
feeling
some
okay, LSP?
some kind of barrier.
You okay? You okay?
My girlfriend, so we have a pet tarantula. My girlfriend thought the tarantula got out. No, it was a wolf spider, a big ass wolf spider in the other room. So
You
the
let
wolf
the
spider was our
tarantula, so you let the tarantula out to kill the wolf spider, right?
No, I just grabbed something to put the wolf
Wait,
spider
is the
out.
tarantula still
The wolf
poisonous?
spider would win.
Poisonous?
What
Venomous.
caliber? What caliber?
As in what kind of tarantula do I got?
No, like what caliber weapon did you use to
Tarantulas are
dispose of the
poisonous.
wolf spider?
I used a
RPG?
30-06 paper.
Nice. Okay.
Tarantulas are poisonous, correct?
Venomous, but yes they are, but
Okay,
it
venomous.
doesn't bite.
Okay,
They're like puppies. Honest to God, they're like puppies.
They're
Where's-
like
Yeah,
puppies.
I
I
thought
had
he got out.
tarantula
That was
once.
what I
They're
was worried
awesome.
about.
I can't have one because of my waifu. She doesn't want us to have one. So
Are we in
Wow, your wife
favor of
sounds like-
making the
probably gonna get. I already told her. When we get a shed, when we get like an outside building, it's going in there. Okay.
All right. So now we will begin actual topic number 2. I hope you'll enjoy the extremely productive conversation about the wall. We shall never speak it up again. It probably won't even make it into the VOD because holy shit. Y'all, like,
Hey, that was
was
good
I
stuff.
really the only thing keeping you in check? Was I like, like the sword of the darkness defending the realms of good discourse? Like, what the fuck? I expected better of all of you. I am so
Wait.
ashamed.
Oh, we
Do you
did
have last-
good.
do you have
You're
last
just
time,
sad
first
that
time
the
rule?
lefties lost. That's all you're saying. You're just trying to cope.
Do you have,
Yeah.
do you have a first time, last time rule? Or last time, first time? Or
Wait, what do you mean?
okay, so like when the next topic, you can actually discuss the topic that was previous.
Oh no, we're not talking. If you talk about this like
Yeah, this
We're
is
moving
Dylan
on.
Burns.
We're
What the
moving
fuck
on
are you
to
talking
the
about,
border
dude?
wall or obstacle courses, I'm going to mute them.
To
All right.
interject, Head for Hydra has a great suggestion in chat. It's a Gundam wall filled with spiders. Nobody's crossing a wall
Jesus
full of
Christ.
spiders.
Hey, LSP, are you okay? I was gone. We were worried about you. Are you okay?
It was my girl. We have a pet tarantula. My girlfriend said the tarantula got out. I went in. It's not the tarantula. It's a wolf spider. She confused the wolf spider for the tarantula. That's
So
all
we're
it
good.
was.
You're good.
Well, yeah, I thought I had to go save like my fucking tarantula.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, good.
Like,
I just want to make
fine.
sure.
You have a pet
Now
wolf
there's a
spider?
dead wolf spider and a dead tarantula.
Do you have a pet wolf spider too?
No, I could have had one about a minute and 20 seconds ago, but now it's outside.
All right. Anyway, let's begin with topic number 2. Very serious. We're back to serious. All right. Topic number 2.
This is so fun.
Tens of thousands of immigrants have fled from Haiti following that nation's disastrous earthquake in 2010. What is the responsibility of the United States or any nation for Europeanoids in chat and on the panel? We love you, Rose Rest. In accepting refugees from areas suffering from natural disasters and human disasters such as warfare. We are going to start this with Biggs, and then we're going to go to Xander Hall, and then Sprout, then LSP, then Nacho, and then finishing with Roserus, and we'll go in the opposite direction for the closers. So 75 seconds on the clock for the openers. We'll have like maybe about a 40-minute discourse, and then I'll try and get you all out of here by 11 o'clock. So, all right, Biggs, 75 seconds on the clock, buddy. Go ahead.
All right, so I think that, I don't think we have any inherent obligation to any other country's people. I do think that it is the right thing to do, especially when it comes to like things like Haiti. I think that those people, they've not only had catastrophic natural disasters, they've also had economic and corruption because they had their president or whatever assassinated, things like that. I do think we do have some aspect, but I think it should be more regionalized. I think that the United States shouldn't take the whole brunt of it. I think countries like Mexico, possibly even Canada, just like a whole basically Western Hemisphere of nations that are able to provide help should try to help. Same thing goes for like European countries and things like Asia. Like if there's a natural disaster or some type that requires a refugee mass immigration, it should be kind of localized. The countries in there that are able to provide assistance should try to help. Again, I do think that we need to have some type of a process to make sure that these people are properly integrated into the system, whether it be through immigration, refugee status, things like that. But I think that it's very good to do to help out. But I don't think America itself should be required solely to take on everybody's refugees.
Thank you, Biggs. Zan.
Yeah, I do think that there is a moral obligation to some degree for us to do something to help, right? We're the most powerful country in the entire world, right? If America's so great, then we can afford to try to make the rest of the world as great as America is, or at least, something, right? Yeah, I absolutely do
Reasonable.
think we have a responsibility to take in some of these refugees. I do agree that there are other countries just as equipped to try to help out, places like Canada. I'm on board with that.
All right. Thank you, Zan.
Completely agreeing with the righty.
Nacho.
Sweet. I love it.
thought it was LSP or me next.
Oh fuck! I
I
fucked
did
up.
too.
Wrong direction. All right, sorry.
The
I was
fireballs
typing.
are hitting quick.
I was changing the topic like in the thing. LSP. Sorry, not Sprout. Fuck. I'm gonna say everyone's name and eventually I'm gonna get the right one.
We love you,
Sprout.
Hans. We love you.
Go ahead.
So I don't think we hold any actual obligation other than what we hold legally in treaties with other countries and stuff like that. I don't think we hold any obligation. I do think it's the right thing to do. I do think that it is the right thing to do to bring in Haitian immigrants that we can vet. We can make sure that they're not a part of any kind of destruction in the United States or whatever vetting looks for. I'm not going to go over the giant list, but I think it's right to do that. And I don't know. I think that the Border Patrol agents at the same time were correct in what they were doing. They were doing their jobs. But I don't know. So it's a very mixed thing. I think that I think it'd be the right thing for us to have them go through the official channels.
Thank
So.
you, Sprout. LSP.
Okay. I'm going to use this time to respond to an overarching point I'm hearing from the conservatives so far because it's annoying me. But every time they respond, they gave an opening, they preface it with, "Well, we don't have an obligation to another country's people." That's not necessarily true. We do. Sproutikus says we have no obligation except for international law. International law says we have that obligation. We do have that obligation. And even if it wasn't a legal obligation, I think we'd have a moral obligation. If you have the ability to help people. Hey, it's my opening. It's my opening.
No interruptions.
Yeah, even if you didn't have a legal obligation, I'd argue you have a moral obligation. If you have the ability to help people who need help, then I think you have a duty to help people who need help. Beyond that, I think there's a little bit of like a weird straw man on the topic because I notice y'all keep like reframing this to America solely help refugees. Other countries should help too. I don't think anybody's going to disagree that other countries should be helping take in refugees as well and handle refugee crises. We're just saying we certainly could be doing more than what we do. We don't actually do all that much, but that's my piece.
Thank you, LSP. All right, Nacho.
Yeah. So I don't think we have any obligation. I think yeah, sure, it's morally right. Mostly, I would say for our neighbors. Unfortunately, though, it does happen to be the case, especially with our southern border, that since like we've touched on earlier, that the cartel has built this multi-billion-dollar industry, trafficking people into here. That it's not even just South Americans coming into the border anymore. I mean, it's like anywhere in the country. If you go through the right channels, you can get smuggled in, which is unfortunate because I think it's like. You don't have an obligation. Like, okay, if someone came to my house and like asked me and were like, hey, can you like lend me some sugar? Or like, hey, like, I can't pay my like bill this month, and they're like my neighbor, I'm more likely to help them than if like somebody from Tennessee just like friends me on Facebook and it's like, hey, can you like help me with my power bill this month? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's kind of the scenario. If you're like related to these people, if this is like Canada or South America, this is like Canada or Mexico, then yes, we don't have an obligation, but it's like maybe we should try to do everything we can do, but no, we don't have an obligation to. So
Thank you, Nacho. All right, Rose, last opening statement. Everyone's welcome to start raising their hands. Go ahead, Rose Roast.
All right. I'm sorry, Hans. Your last like prompt got messed with a little bit. I'm gonna mess with this one as well. For the purpose of this conversation, to make sure it remains healthy, let's just throw out the whole do we have an obligation to do it? Let's just take that and throw it the fuck out the window and focus on should we do it instead. Because if we're talking about obligations, there's about a million different definitions for what you could say is an obligation or not, and that's going to be a really boring discussion. So I think we should just talk about should we do it or should we not do it. I think that's probably the most productive way to handle this discussion.
1 second. I'm just going to pause your time for like a brief second. Is everyone okay with that suggestion to the change of the question?
Sure.
All right, cool. Excellent. So focus on that, not whether we have to say like a specific legal obligation, but whether we should. Rose Roast, you have 45 seconds left. Go ahead, buddy.
Great. Furthermore, there's another thing that is brought up often a lot, which is sort of like it wasn't explicitly stated by anybody on this panel, but it kind of is implicitly mentioned. There is sort of like an implication that nearby countries to, for instance, in this case, Haiti, don't actually take in any like substantive amounts of refugees when this is absolutely not the case. There's a lot of other South American countries that also take in a lot of refugees, and like some of them do end up coming all the way up to the United States of America. But it's not the case at all that these refugees are just like going through all these other countries and not, being taken in by any of them, so to say, or not trying to get into any of them and just going to the United States of America. That is absolutely not the case. Furthermore, when it comes to working together, I can provide some more information when it comes to Canada and Mexico that was talked about. Canada has in fact already offered to help when it comes to this specific refugee crisis we have with Haitians, so that's positive. And Mexico, maybe if we would have had better relations without that fucking border wall scandal, that would be a lot easier. And if we had the drug
border
war,
wall
that
scandal
would also help out quite a bit with that
scandal.
And destabilization within Mexico. There's at the end of the day no good reason not to take in refugees.
All right, thank you. All right, everybody, start raising them hands, folks, for the general. Biggs, I see you. Biggs, then Xanderhall, then Roserist. That's enough for the start. Biggs, take it away, buddy. We're going to move into 40 minutes of open discussion. We're not going to extend it again, trying to respect all of your time. So understand that limited time. If you want to get and say something, fucking raise those hands. So Biggs, Zan, and then Roserist. Go ahead, Biggs.
I just wanted to push back kind of on what Roserist was saying. So like, obviously, like everybody, it should be more of like a group effort, right? For countries wherever it's more like locally, especially because it's like more tied to like how your culture might be, maybe a little bit. But like, what do you think the actual like United States should be doing? Like, how many? Like, what's your number of like? Should it be like a certain percentage of them, the amount of refugees? Should it be like a flat number of like 1 million? Like, what do you think would be a reasonable thing, Rose?
Yeah, okay. So there's a lot of different directions to take this. I think the number one responsibility for the United States of America when it comes to handling these situations doesn't necessarily have to do with how many we take in, but just the things we do to prevent that situation from occurring in the first place. And in that situation, it is a shame that the sort of like geopolitical like respect and influence of the United States of America has been so thoroughly undermined.
So you want more interventionalists to obviously, like, I think that like natural disasters are like a separate topic, right? Like we can't control natural disasters.
So intervention is
1 second, everybody. So I see LSP and Sprout, you're on the list now. This is a conversation explicitly between Biggs and Roserist. No one jump in. I'm giving them 3 minutes for this conversation. No one else talk during this. So go ahead.
Yeah, so intervention is one way to say it, I guess. But what I'm thinking more along the lines of is maybe doing things like the trade deal between let's see, what was it called here? I had it written down. Oh yeah, like the USMCA between not only like North America but also a bunch of Southern American countries, and in an attempt to basically try to build up those countries
bolster
as well
economies.
From the ground up. Exactly, and stuff like that to basically make them, number one, be able to build the infrastructure to be able to take in more refugees. Number two, make living there more desirable for refugees, and just a whole bunch of other things. Just strengthen them geopolitically, reduce poverty, increase like women's rights and stuff like that. So also pretty important.
So you want to move it from an obligation to take on refugees to more of a financial obligation, correct? So like,
I think we should do both.
Okay, so like, what amount of like taxpayer money should be going to those type of efforts?
Like for an exact percentage, like an amount, or like
what what do you think would be reasonable? Like, because I'm trying, basically what I'm trying to get at is like, what is our obligation as the United States? So like, obviously, like whether we take on refugees, that affects citizens obviously, or whether we pay tax money to help bolster these economies and do like nation building. So what do you like? I'm trying to get like a basis of like what you think our obligation is, what we should do, because you want to make it towards of like a should than a obligation. So what do you think we should do, and what do you think our responsibility should be, and then what countries and how should we enact that?
I think that going into the future, the expansion and the utilization of more robust trade agreements should be the number one political thing that we do over the next 20 years. I think that our ability to interact with that in a successful way is going to like largely guide humanitarian process and like progress in a whole bunch of departments, whether we're talking refugees, climate change, women's rights, labor protections, whatever we're talking about. I think that's going to be very important. So I think that it's absolutely a really strong priority for the U.S. government, just like most other government, to very heavily try to dedicate like resources and money in order to like build up those systems. And
can you give me a number?
Hold on. I need to say one more thing as well. Now, the reason why it might be difficult for me to give you a number particularly is because this isn't like a one-way transaction, right? So it's not just like, oh, the US does this and these countries like get helped up and the US doesn't get anything in return, right? So for instance, through most like trade agreements, both parties benefit to a large extent. Obviously, there may be some differences depending on like certain caveats or certain interactions that make place with how the trade deal is set up. But assuming that they're set up in a good way, which is a question of pragmatism more than politics, it's going to benefit all parties. It will benefit the United States of America.
Yeah. So what I see this is kind of like a capital investment and then a return on investment, right? To me, I don't think that necessarily will be a benefit to the United States in general. I'm all for helping people, but I think it's much more to like, obviously, like we want to get like some benefit, but I think it should be, if we are going to do these steps, like I think it should be more just like Adi, you said like before, is like a more of a moral obligation to just help in like foreign aid type situation. But like, I just don't see how this is going to be solving the problems when we have so many different countries that are having these problems. We can't help everybody. But like, I think that if we localize the problem and try to take on like what we can, but I just don't think if we're trying to eat the snake at both ends, it's just going to be a lot of money wasted and not enough benefit returned on investment from the taxpayer.
The thing is, you have no idea what, for example,
Rose, just finish your Rose. Get 30 seconds for Rose just to like for final thoughts, and then we're gonna move it back to the list. So go ahead, Rose first.
Yeah, so it's going to be very difficult to be able to predict like the exact economic and financial and fiscal like comeback to the United States of America from engaging in those trade agreements. But if you want to look at it from an extremely sort of egocentric oriented perspective, like how does this help the U.S.? I can give you like, for example, like drug production. I can give you criminality. I can give you all the issues we've talked about in regards to
like a 10-second
entire panel. We can talk about just like increasing of like labor rights in generally, like bolstering economies around those regions, making those resources more accessible, which makes trade with the United States easier, so they can like lower prices of consumer products. Just generally have like more specialized economies, more competitive advantage, more research when it comes to, for example, like medical things, for instance, which could be super useful in future pandemics. Like there's about 1 million different ways in which more like free trading agreements like that is going to benefit all parties involved. So I don't think it's like an investment that the U.S. is just like sprinkling on.
I agree with that, but my 10-second response is like we try to do this within the United States itself, and we still see like failures and lack of like actual return on investment. So I feel like
we try to
naive.
Do this? What do you mean by this? Like,
well, we do things like we do like programs that like incentivize and like put money into different programs and things like that in the United States. I think it's naive to think that if we put these programs in the foreign aid, we'll have any type of like actual real return, because we already have seen it within our own country fail. That's my issue.
I mean, if you just look from a historical perspective, like the advent and the proliferation of like free trade and trade agreements has had.
I agree that free trade is good.
Okay, all right, guys.
Okay, well, then what is the argument that's not going to work?
I know we're going to pull this back. I'd like to remind everyone, for the purpose of this conversation, that we're not just talking about like the responsibility of the U.S. We're talking about the responsibility of the U.S. in any nation. So the frame of this conversation isn't should the U.S. help everybody. It's should every nation or any nation be responsible for should they help their like other nations who are suffering from natural or like human disasters. So we're now gonna go back to the list, which is Zan, then Rose, then LSP, then Sprout. Zan, 2 minutes on the clock. Go ahead, buddy.
You can move me back because I've spoken for a fuck ton now. So just put someone else in front of me.
Okay, I'll put you on the bottom of the list.
I think Rose touched on this a bit, but I think something that a lot of lefties don't consider as a way, obviously, yes, we should be helping them out, as in like not just a moral thing, but we just should, because there's things to benefit from it. I think a lot of lefties refuse to acknowledge how useful I think the term for it is the private sector, can be in helping these countries do better, encouraging American companies to set up franchises and try to expand into a lot of these countries that offer jobs for many workers there. It would strengthen the economy and thus the government as well, through taxation, allowing them to be able to afford to deal with these natural disasters that occur, or any other type of issue. The way that you would get this to work, not exactly sure off the top of my head. Obviously, I mean, I have my criticisms of capitalism, but I do think encouraging American businesses to expand to these countries could be a massive help.
Right. Thank you, Zan. LSP.
Hi. Sorry. That entire exchange between Biggs and Rose is a clusterfuck that needs to be disentangled. Biggs is centering on he's looking for a specific figure for which to say, these are our obligations. You can't do that. Economy's growing all the time.
I was focusing on should, not obligation.
Okay, should.
Right. The proper retort to that be we should devote as much as necessary to help it, and as we are capable of devoting. Obviously, we shouldn't bankrupt ourselves trying to help the world. That I don't think anybody's proposing that, though. But your argument with Rose that I think you were talking about how you don't get a return on investment on these trade agreements, and you don't see that as solving any of the problem that would have them from like refugee crisis. That's just not true. Right.
Well, we not only have to look at the actual like return on investment, we also have to look at the opportunity cost as well. So it's like twofold. I didn't get into that in that specific conversation because I didn't think it was like needed to be. But I think that when we have money invested in other countries, I think it's good if we can help them. But to what detriment and to what actual benefit and to what actual outcome we're actually going to see?
Yeah, opportunity loss is the other way. Where with these trade agreements, we're growing our own like market. We're growing the market. We're growing the number of trade partners we have. We're growing the number of customers we have. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's opportunity.
Biggs, I love you.
About, like,
please don't respond unless he has like a specific question. You have been added, so I promise I'll let you go. And then Rose, I saw that you have like a specific question as well. I'll let you answer. I'll let you ask that question in a second. So LSP, keep going. Yep, I'll give you like an extra like 30 seconds. Keep going, buddy.
Okay. The opportunity loss is from not making these investments in the first place. Free trade stops wars.
That's not how that works, by the way. It's
Free trade helps all parties involved. Rose is dead on, and you're just wrong on this. I think what I want to disentangle the paradox of a libertarian who thinks investing in border patrol would ultimately be good, but free trade, paradoxically might lose us money. Like it seems. I don't know. Like it seems like you're really betraying your libertarian values there, and I'm not meaning that as an ad hominem. But you keep bringing up that you're libertarian. It just feels like it's going so many different ways with what that title means. Okay, sorry.
I just have a very simple question, maybe to orient what Biggs is going to say next. So, I mean, there's opportunity cost to anything. So I'm curious, Biggs, what would be like an example of a way you think those resources and that capital is better spent when it comes to opportunity cost perspective than within like international free trade agreements? And that's
Biggs, you got a lot of questions from both of them in this, so I'm going to give you 2 minutes and 30 seconds to respond. And please, no one interrupt Biggs while he's doing this. And Biggs, this is your
first. You
interrupted
me like 5 times.
I know. I know.
If you want to ask me a quick question, I'll be happy to answer you.
Both of you, shut up for a second. Biggs, you're not going to get interrupted during this, but this is your first and only warning. Do not do that again.
Can I get just a quick synopsis of what specifically LSP wants me to answer and what Rose wants me to answer? Because I want to make sure I'm clear.
Of course.
Yeah. So my question was, do you want to say it? Huh?
Yeah. Both of you just phrase your questions to Biggs right now.
All right. So you pointed out how there's an opportunity cost to free trade and capital investments there. 100% there's an opportunity cost to anything. But when that's brought up, I expect you to have like a better alternative where you think that capital would be better spent. So I'm asking you for what an example would be of a situation in which like the opportunity cost is lower or more favorable when it comes to that type of capital than engaging in free trade agreements.
All right, go ahead, LSP.
Your question? The same with Rose.
The same thing? Okay. So to me, I think that the opportunity cost would be the opportunity cost for like internal, like for US investment, right? So like education, things like that. Like I think that would be the issue. So if we want to go with that, I'm fine with that. But like I think that we're kind of getting off the rails here with this, because I think that what I was asking, what I was trying to get was like, to what is the actual like should amount? As I'm trying to get like, what should we as Americans feel like we should be willing to invest? That's all I was asking from my side.
Quick interjection?
Sure.
Yeah, so I tried to head off this answer. First, I explained it's hard to quantify what a should amount is in a growing economy with a growing world and a growing and fluctuating immigration numbers every year. But I set a basic principle that we should devote as much as necessary and as we are capable of devoting, which is to say, if we can't afford to devote so many resources, we probably shouldn't devote so many resources. But if we can, we should devote as much as we're able to, as it's necessary to solve a problem.
But we have to understand that it comes at a cost of the actual budget, because we have a finite amount of resources. So when we invest in things like foreign aid, we only have so much money. So if you put that into foreign aid, we then have to take that out of, or it's a net detriment to.
Would you rather put that money?
Right. So like I said, education, things internally in the United States. So I'm saying like we have to have like some type of, either it has to be like a moral obligation, so we have to feel like we should to be able to help these people, or it has to have like an actual tangible benefit to make it worthwhile for the U.S. to put this money, as opposed to putting it into our own infrastructure or education or whatever else we're trying to fund within our own country, right? Because we have a lot of problems here, so it's a balancing act, right? Like we have to find out where the teeter totters.
Can I do a quick response to that?
Sure, go for it.
I know I'm hitting my quick response quotas. Foreign aid constitutes well less than 1% of the budget. I'm willing to bet the Border Patrol takes up way more than foreign aid does. I feel like there's so many other places where you can find bloat and waste in the budget than foreign aid. We're talking a very minuscule part of the budget, and arguably we could be doing way more resources to foreign aid than we already do.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would like to say, and this is kind of like a framing device that's been used quite a bit when it comes to discussions of trade. This isn't like it sounds like from the way you're talking about it that you perceive this as like a one-way transaction. Like the United States does this and they pay these countries and that's what it is. It's like a cost of the US. But like, you know, free trade and trade agreements are probably one of the best examples you could ever have of like policies that are mutually beneficial for all parties. There are extremely few cases in which like you know, free trade agreements and you know like trade agreements like that, especially if you're the greater party like the US is going to be, of them like not ending up being beneficial for like the member nations. That's extraordinarily rare. And in addition to that, I could also make the argument that it is going to be easier and we're going to have a bigger pie, we're going to have bigger GDP growth, we're going to have more money in circulation, we're just going to see a greater economy from engaging in this free trade agreements. And what's going to happen with a bigger economy with more money in circulation? Well, more tax revenue, more dollars that we can put into those things I think is really important, like education, healthcare, and stuff like that. So like I think that free trade agreements are probably one of the easiest things you can do to not only fulfill the issues we're talking about here, but also fulfill all those internal things that you talk about as like being issues and the rest of it. And this is without even talking about the humanitarian side of things, of like helping people in other countries and climate change and women's rights and all the rest of it. So
all right, I'm gonna give Biggs a minute to respond to like this last thing, and then we're bringing it back to the list, which is Sprout, then Rose.
Yeah, sorry, Hans, for
LSP.
taking so much.
No. Oh, Nacho, I see you as well. Biggs, like, dude, don't worry about it. Like, if people are asking you questions coming at you, that's not a problem at all.
I really appreciate how you handle these panels, because I think they're some of the best on the platform. So just so you know. But what I want to say is that I agree with you guys. I think that if we can get a mutual return that's 100% beneficial, even if it's $1 more than what we spend, I think it's worth to do it, right? But my issue is a lot of these things that we're going to do are going to be for programs that are trying to bring people up out of poverty that won't actually impact the actual returns that we're going to get. So there's going to be so much invested that's going to go towards things like improving quality of life that won't necessarily get that return. Now, if we can make that return, even like I said, even if it's $1, if we pay $1 billion and we get $1.1 billion in return, 100%. If it's helping people survive and live their lives, I'm all for it, right? I want people to live and let live. But I think that it's naive to think that we're actually going to be funding these things. And again, I may be wrong, but I think that if we get that benefit back, I think it's worth it. But that cost analysis is an issue we have to understand. And I think you're misguided in your cost benefit, because I think that for every $1 billion we put in foreign aid versus every $1 billion we put in domestic policy and infrastructure, I think that that's a big difference, and I think that we need to definitely consider that. But I think that if we can get that $1 plus, that, you know, whatever we pay plus one, I'm for it. So I agree with you in that respect, but I think that we need to definitely try to get these understanding of like what we should actually be doing. And I don't think that just funneling money into these programs is necessarily the best thing that we can be doing with the money, right?
That's my concern. Foreign aid and free trade agreements aren't the same thing, right? These are two completely different things,
right? And but we're talking about both in kind of like an amalgamation, right? Like I think that foreign aid, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about like foreign aid to like boost these countries, right? So that includes like bringing up the quality of life, I would assume, right? We can't just pump money into the economy and not actually like improve the quality of life stuff. Like we had to do kind of a little bit of both, correct?
Yeah, and the way by which you improve the quality of life is in principle not going to come from just like cash infusions from the US government into these states. It's going to come from the increase in the expansion of markets from these countries, and they're going to be able to engage in more economic transactions, grow their economy, grow their GDP. So that the key benefit we're giving them is not like direct money.
I think you're hand waving the complexity of the economies of these countries. Like, what could we get if we invested in Haiti per se? What is
But
their?
it's,
What
that's
is
what you
their?
don't get. It's not necessarily
Okay,
It's not.
all
It's
right,
not
Okay, that's fine. We can move on.
money to them.
This is taking a bit too much time.
That's fine.
Rose and Biggs.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no problem.
No. Don't apologize at all. I think this would be amazing if you guys want to do like a one-on-one like chess timer about like this specific topic. I'm happy to host that for both of you. I just want to like respect the rest of the panelists because I know
What's up, Looter?
Sprout and Nacho have been waiting like pretty patiently, and I want to get them in on this.
I gotta get my boys in on the action. Come on, Sprout. Come
Hey,
on,
man,
Nacho. Let's
I'm
go.
loving this, though,
We gotta
man.
get
There's
them,
a nice-
boys. We gotta get them.
It's a
So,
nice back and forth.
Rose and LSP, I moved you guys down the bottom of the list just to give like a Sprout Nacho a good time to talk. So the current list right now is Sprout, then Nacho, then Rose, then LSP. We have 20 minutes left for the general of this conversation.
You can put
So-
Rose in front of me because I'm interested in hearing this back and forth. I like.
Okay, all right, Sprout.
I want to hear what Rose has to say.
All right, Sprout, go ahead.
Okay, so like I said, I don't believe we're obliged to take immigrants than other what
Trying to
other than
crush
what is
Rose.
found
Trying to crush,
in the
crush,
law.
crush.
In the law, we're not obliged to take every single immigrant. The
Looter,
international laws that would be
I'm so
shared
glad
amongst
you're here,
countries.
because I miss you.
I think that countries generally
I really
should
felt the lack of
be
energy
able to
without you
or
being
should
here. So now that
reach
you're
out
here,
to
I feel
fellow countries that are
rejuvenated.
around them
But I don't
and
think I'm gonna get
help
much
with the
time to talk because I
refugees if they're
fucking
needed
took
to
too
be
much talking
refugees.
time already.
I think that's just a moral obligation of sorts on these countries. And if you want to be a good country, then you always are gonna have more obligations. But I don't think that. Yeah, I think that would be the best way to take care of this is if countries board their own weight. If each country could bear its own weight, then I think that would be best for immigration for them to go to different countries, not just all come to the United States.
All right, thank you, Sprout. Rose.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like have a lot to say here. I think if we were out to like have another discussion on this, I would need to like bring specific citations on the table. But just generally, the entire like history of economic and like global development for the past like centuries, like stand in favor of the notion that hey, opening up your economies, doing like more like free trade agreements and stuff like that, just benefits all parties involved. So
I
it's sort of
agree
like,
with that.
but we
I
don't know what
do
the cost
agree
might
with
be,
that.
or like the weird conflation between the free trade agreements and international aid, which has happened like 6 times. It just feels like an attempt to like muddy the waters here when it's like
I thought that's what they were talking about. That's what I thought he was talking about.
Another piece of context to add is that it's not necessarily just like the U.S. Haiti do a one-on-one thing. In that situation, like it's like bounces can happen, but it's more like okay, U.S. makes a big trade agreement and joins like, or maybe the USMCA collaborates with like some of the trade unions and trade agreements that exist in South America instead, and try to build those bridges. So you have like as much like large and economic integration as possible to maximize all parties involved, all pies, all markets, and the rest of it. So.
Okay, so I think that's where I think one of the core disagreements between all of us, on the right and the left, fall on this particular one. Is that I don't think anyone here on the right is going to say that like, yeah, we shouldn't like give the middle finger to every other country. Like, it's not like that. It's just a matter of it's more like this is low on the list, unfortunately. And I think even this is probably low on the list for Democrats too, because the problem is that neither party is going to want to slash. So there was mention of like you could find ways to like slash the budget to make room for this. Yeah, you could, but like the problem is that neither party wants to sit on the fence. Like neither party is going to want to slash their budget to make room for this. So at the end of the day, this is something that falls pretty low on the list. Does that make sense? I felt like that was at the core of like the back and forth there, a little bit there.
You're welcome to respond.
Right and left.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to stuff like this, like it's not necessarily about like slashing costs or anything of the sort. I do think that like if it were to be like a highly costly endeavor to engage with, it would still be like good and would still be an investment, would still be paid back fairly like quickly. But most of this just has to do with more of the negotiative like diplomacy side of things, more than like cash infusions to different parties and stuff like that. And you saying that it's low on the list at the moment, and I agree with you 100% that is absolutely the case. And I think that unless that is resolved, not only in the United States of America, but also across the world as a whole, in the European Union, in like Southeast Asia and China and stuff like that, unless this is resolved, unless we start really like prioritizing and understanding the benefits when it comes to like trade agreements, then we're going to see like massive issues going forward, especially when it comes to stuff like climate change, which at least from my understanding right now, they conditioned free trade agreements that try to target those types of emissions and sort of like influence positive behaviors when it comes to that. It's probably our best bet at the moment of averting the crises and the refugee waves and stuff like that have to do with that. So I mean, yeah, I agree with you that it's pretty low on the list, but it definitely shouldn't.
Thank you. We're now going to throw it to LSP. Go ahead, buddy.
No, quick response from me, damn it.
So, Rose, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. I want to reiterate the point that you're having with specifically Biggs and Nacho, specifically that they are conflating foreign aid, which comes out of the U.S. budget, with free trade deals, which doesn't, which just opens markets between two nations and sets regulations between those nations, regulating the commerce between the trading partners, right? That's your
Quick
issue?
response.
Please let him finish first.
Sure.
That was actually a question for Rose.
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
I just wanted to
your issue
clarify
was-
my point.
Yeah, I mean, like part of it was that. I mean, there's some level, like I think that for like a lot of trade agreements that there should probably be some level of like joint capital pools, like what we saw in the Montreal Protocol, for instance, when it comes to helping more developing nations also be able to like sort of like develop at a faster rate than they would be able to like organically, even with the free trade agreements. But I think at the end of the day, like even with that like capital injection, they would like pay back fairly quickly, because with the development that cash infusion would
want a quick response,
put into the
please.
economy, it would also
Please,
like
quick
further
response.
increase development, increase their markets, competitively, and just like benefit all parties in the end of the day. So yeah, I don't like the conflation. There is interplay between the two, but they are not the same thing, and they should be differentiated.
Thank you. And then Biggs, feel free to clarify.
I just want to clarify. Like, I am all for free trade, because trade agreements don't cost us anything. As far as like actual capital investments, they may cost us like opportunity costs and stuff like that later, or like differential income and revenue. But like, I don't think it actually like it's not an investment in money. So like, I'm all for free trade in general, like completely. So I want to misconstrue that. I was just stating that before when we were talking, I thought he was talking about like investing in their actual economies. So maybe I was misunderstanding. But free trade,
it's a
I'm
mix
all
of
for.
utilizing the two of them. But I think that the major aspect, the major driving thing is going to be the free trade agreements, and I think that.
And I don't think that there's
like
anything that we have that would prevent us from trading with Haiti and other countries. Like, I don't think. I mean, maybe there is, but like, I think if they have a product, we should be able to buy it, right?
Yeah, it's also not necessary. Okay, go for it, LSP.
Oh, sorry. Well, no, fuck y'all. Y'all have been like going together.
Yeah, go for it.
Like
Go off, Queen.
Biggest trade union in the world is the European Union. Biggest market in the world, the European Union. In the European Union, they have this thing called the Schengen Zone, which is a free movement agreement between the nations of the European Union to allow for people to travel between states and between borders. The effect this has is labor gets to move from one place to another place, and that's great for the economy. Right, you grow human capital.
That's basically the
you
Americas.
You get cheap labor. There's
like
all sorts of different benefits.
Canada.
I'm wondering since we're all such fans of free trade, how would we feel about? And this is a little bit unrelated to U.S. obligations, but how would we feel about a NAFTA free movement zone or something to that effect, or a North American free movement zone? Like you must understand, free movement of people is part of free labor or free trade as well, right?
I mean,
labor is a resource of the economy.
Need to go a little bit further on that.
I'd be down, but like the problem is that a lot of these places, like I said, like the cartel has a huge influence in South America overall. So like as much as it's like the meme to be like, oh, the conservatives just think that everybody in like Mexico is like a gang member. Like it just happens to be the case.
That would be pretty impressive.
Well, all of South America, but the cartel has a huge reach.
US policies, right?
Right. Yeah. So and yeah, that's not to take us off the leash or whatever. Like, but there would have to be some kind of like a concerted effort between the governments to like kind of like clean up the streets, so to speak, in a way that's not like that we've typically seen, like, oh well, the war on drugs or whatever, or the war on or the war on terrorism, whatever.
Trade agreements do that really well.
Yeah, precisely what he's saying. I was just about to echo this point. A trade agreement stops a lot of this because the market's so regulated, and it's so you basically grow a black market by having so many different laws and restrictions on what people can and cannot do, specifically in the area of drugs, which is where the cartel derives a lot of their power. We reform our drug laws, we very, very, very much weaken the cartel's ability to do anything.
Yeah. So I guess
go for it, Najee.
Yeah, I guess I just have questions, I guess, because it sounds like, yeah, fine, like it sounds like a good solution, or it sounds like a good first step to start these negotiations, but like where the hell would we even start, I guess, but maybe that's another topic, I don't know.
And to answer your
Also, I appreciate the conversation has like been extremely respectful. Like going back between you guys, I was dealing with some like off like stream some clerical stuff. So thank you for continuing the conversation respectfully. So keep going. We have about 10 minutes left in the general. So any last things that we want to say? If we don't have 10 minutes worth of stuff, we can end it early. But if there's anything like else people want to say to each other, ask questions about, feel free to like do that now. I won't make the list stuff because I feel like it's being like pretty nice and free flowing right now. So just keep going.
I thought we had good conversations. I thought I did pretty well in this debate.
You mentioned LSP about the free movement of people. I am like economic integration is my fucking favorite thing in the world. Okay, I love that shit. I just pump that shit into my veins. Okay, I love it. But I think that at the moment, when it comes to the development between like the like North American states and the members of the USMCA, I think that there still needs to be like a higher degree of like integration between the three parties in order for that to be like a sustainable solution. So for instance, if you compare to the EU, you have in the EU like a wider spread of a common currency, some common regulations, some common like policies that like a democratically elected through like an additional parliamentary system within the EU as compared to like the USMCA. So at some point it would be fucking amazing to see that shit. And I think that the USMCA and the trade agreements need to go further with economic integration to move towards a time where that could be a possibility, because generally, yeah, it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the part of the problem too is that this still falls back on the U.S. is that we have such a like obsession with some of these other countries when like this is something that I hear, at least in my talking circles, from a lot of people on the right and the left. It's like it doesn't make sense to me why we're focused on so many other countries, why we're focused on the Middle East when we have Canada and Mexico at our borders, and we really should be hanging out with them because these are our neighbors and these are the people that we should be looking out for first. Like, so having something like the EU, but for us, in the US, I'm not necessarily against that.
The EU is basically the US in general, because when you think about it, like you think about the states are basically the same size as the countries in the EU for the most part. Like obviously,
right.
Like it's like relative, right? But the whole EU is what, like 400 and some million. The United States is like 370 million. So we're talking about like the same thing. We're talking about the US versus the EU, right? So we're talking about free movement. We have free movement in the United States. What we're talking about is like the sovereignty of our country, and the United States is different than the EU. We don't have an obligation to these other countries like the EU does. The EU is actually basically like a dictatorship almost over some of the countries in it based on their representation. Like I honestly think that like England, when they left the EU with Brexit and stuff like that, like they wanted to be free of that, right? So we have the United States, we're free of other people's like rule. So I think that when we want to do things like this to actually improve people's lives, I want to see us do that. I want to see us have the ability to take on are regionally located people, right? Like if we have people in Haiti that have an earthquake, have economic and political instability, we should help them, right? But I think that places like Mexico and Canada should also be involved. I think that places like Afghanistan, when we had the whole pullout, I don't know how many, like I think it was like, wasn't it like a few thousand Afghan refugees that were brought to the United States? Like I think we should help them, but like I think that it should be more regionalized and we should have a process. And I think that what we have now should be streamlined. And the issue I have is like when we compare the United States to the EU, we can't take it as being like the EU takes on these people, because the EU is basically the United States when you think about it like in like relativity. I think that's a kind of a false comparison when you say like, oh, the EU lets this, blah blah blah. I think that's a false comparison.
Is it a good comparison?
Pardon me?
Is it a false comparison or a good comparison? Because at the beginning you talked about how similar they were, and now you're saying it's not.
Right. What I'm saying is what you were saying with the EU, right? Has movement between the countries, right? But that's like how we have the states. But you're trying to equate that to like movement between like immigrants, right?
Well, we were talking between all of North America when we were talking about the implementation of that free movement stuff. So, for example, the development of the US.
What he's pointing out.
I'm pointing out the difference between we already have that free movement between our states, which is like how the EU interacts, right? The EU is basically the United States when it comes to like population.
So we would be adding on.
So we'd be adding on like, outside of the EU, right?
That's what Canada I'm saying. And like Mexico.
So when you equate the free movement of the EU, that would be the free movement between the states, not between other countries coming into the United States. That's what I was saying.
It would be like the EU, like currently right now, like talking about like adding on like a couple 100 million, like.
Okay. I'm gonna pull
Is the
it back.
implication there that okay?
Maybe.
LSP raised his hand, so I think he wants to interject. He didn't want to be rude, so we're gonna throw it to LSP now, and then there's room for 2 more spots. If 2 more people want to speak before we go to closing statements, Zan, you're on the list. Does anyone else want to speak after LSP and Zan before we move to closing statements for this?
I relinquish my time.
I'll take his
Take
time.
myself in the closing.
All right, cool. So
That's
LSP,
funny. He says
LSP
that, but my thing was a response to him.
all right, okay.
To who?
LSP, to you, I think. LSP,
I'll respond if he wants me to.
Yeah, all right. LSP and Biggs can have a 4-minute back and forth. Then I'll give Zan
4 minutes.
I don't need 4 minutes. I'll just respond to whatever he asks. That's fine.
Okay. Well, it's just like I don't want to interrupt and like tell you how much time. So like I'll that's like the hard cap. I'll pull it back after.
You're
that.
too nice, Hans. You're too nice, buddy.
All right. LSP, go ahead, buddy.
We'll start with a pickup line. Biggs, are you a long-necked African mammal? Because you're giraffing me crazy.
Oh, I like it.
No, you don't. Because you're saying the EU is a dictatorship? The European Union's a dictatorship? How do we...
Okay, so
in the world of Bashar al-Assad and Kim Jong-un and the European Union...
I was trying to refer to the fact that, like, the EU controls what the countries do, right? Because the country, that's why Brexit
the EU
happened,
is made
right?
up of member countries. They vote on what to do.
Yeah,
But they-
well,
but
there's
they
states,
have-
there's states in the United States who feel like that the government is too big and that this is a dictatorship.
Okay, let me just
can
I just clear this up real quick?
It's the same
What I
thing.
was
The
saying-
same thing happens in the EU. I think is what the comparison
Nacho,
is.
let me just clear this up real quick. All I was
Sorry.
stating was that the European Union is basically countries within that union are required to do what the union decides, right?
They also get to decide what the union decides.
And also
But
not
if-
nearly to the same extent. The federal body of the United States of America has way more influence over the states.
Right,
than what
which is
EU
good,
has over
right?
the
Because they're
European
separate countries. I
Well, it
understand
depends.
that.
Sometimes
Wait.
it's good, sometimes it's less
Oh
good.
my gosh.
I'm
Okay.
so confused. Are we a dictatorship more than? Because we have more of a say? Like, is the United States also a dictatorship?
All
from
I
a
was
country's
saying,
from a
all
state's
I was
perspective,
trying to
sometimes,
say
yeah.
was that when you equate the free movement between the UK, not the UK, the European Union versus like all of North America, it's not the same thing because
Well, we're not
the
equating.
free movement between the European Union is more equal to the free union within the United States because of the way it's set up, right? The European unions basically work as states. The countries within it
Yes,
work as like
because they
states, right?
Formed a union.
like
Exactly,
We made a
exactly.
union-
So we are the
America,
United
yes.
States.
Oh,
they
right,
are the
what I'm saying
European Union. So they're the United Union of countries or whatever, right? That's all I was saying.
So they
What's
have
the implication?
they're
we
the-
have for
they're
They're
the-
the EUSA, you know.
All I
Yeah,
wanted to say was, why
so-
did the UK leave?
so-
Because they felt like they were being obligated to do things they didn't want to do by the majority
was
of the
It's
European
like
Union.
what?
They seceded.
They seceded,
Okay.
right? So that's
So-
what I was saying. That's all I was trying to say was that
Okay,
it was a
so-
false equivalency to make
It's not.
the movement between the European
Well, it's not
Union
an equivalency.
versus
I'll tell you-
Mexico
I'll
and the
tell
United
you-
States because it's
tell
completely
you
different.
how-
That's all.
It was never an equivalency.
I'll tell you why it's not.
Well, then I was
Right.
mistaken. I'm
So-
sorry.
Well, I'll tell you why it's not. So you're right in that the difference is one is a collection of sovereign nations, and the other is just a collection of states within one nation.
Of sovereign states.
Right? Because one's because they made a union amongst themselves, which you could arguably do. You could replicate it just by making a union amongst the North American
Right?
countries
Yeah, we
as
could
well.
have that. Right? We could have a Canadian, a
I
Mexican,
wasn't
and
making
United
the
States
comparison.
union.
It's
Right? We
perfectly
could do that.
valid.
But we don't have that, right? We don't have a free movement between those sovereign
Yeah.
countries, correct?
Yeah, but I'm saying we
Okay, that's
should.
what we're
a great
talking about.
idea.
Right.
Sure, but we don't have that now. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, and
Oh.
I think
So
also
if you
what he's
want
saying is
that,
that
that's fine to advocate for that, but we
I
don't
wasn't
have that.
arguing that we have that right
So
now.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not sure what you're saying.
LSP's question was like, okay, so we're talking about trade deals. We're talking about the USMCA. EU is a pretty good example. So like, and the question was like, I think it was directed at me or maybe the panel at large. Like, hey, so like, what could the prospects look for when it comes to the USMCA doing similar like transportation and like movement of people legislation like the EU did? And then my response to that was like, well, it's very difficult to say because at the moment the USMCA is nowhere near the same amount
So
of
I would
economic
say-
and legal. Can I finish?
Oh, I want to agree with you though, but yeah, go ahead.
there's nowhere near the same level of like economic and legal integration along the lines of like the economic development cycle as like the EU does. So it would be cool if the USMCA got to that point eventually, but at the minute I think there's enough differentiation for that to maybe not be a great policy at the minute. So you should move towards like economic integration and development within the USMCA, and at some point when it's more similar to the European Union, that could absolutely be looked into, and it could be pretty cool. Oh, yeah.
All right, Biggs' final response to this. We're going to throw it to Zan, and then we're
So-
going to closing statements for this topic. So go ahead, Biggs.
So I think I agree with you when it comes to that. Like obviously, I think like if we can have things like migrant, like agricultural migrant workers coming up to the United States to do their work, go back, and then come back to Mexico, I'm perfectly fine with that. I think that's similar to what you're talking about the EU. But all I was trying to equate was that I was saying that like when you talk about the free movement of the EU, because they have a specific charter and a specific set of rules, it's different than what we have in between like United States and Mexico and Canada. It's more akin to what we actually have in the United States between the free movement between states. And again, because of like similar sizes, like basically when you think about it in practicality, the states work similarly to the countries in the EU. They have similar population sizes. Obviously there's a difference in like language and stuff like that, but like as far as like the free movement between them based on their rules of the European Union, that's what I would equate it to. Now, if you want to disagree with that, that's fine. But that's what
nobody
I would
disagrees
equate it
with that at all.
Okay, perfect.
Ever.
But I think that you were trying to equate that to the what we have with Mexico and Canada and Haiti and other countries, and that's where I disagree.
Wait, Haiti isn't part of the USMCA either.
Right. No,
The
I'm talking about immigration as a whole. And what I'm saying is like basically for me, I think that we should be somewhat obligated to provide some type of assistance to people within our locality, whether it be like the Western Hemisphere with like Mexico, Haiti, Cuba, things like that. But I just don't think that having this be like a requirement is necessarily true.
No,
All right, we're gonna pull it
completely different. I have no idea.
Okay,
all right, we're gonna pull it back. Again, like happy to like do conversation between you two in the future. I think that'd be like a really excellent conversation. We can share more sources and stuff, so that way like we aren't so we're all on the same page for like different stuff. So all right, Zan, last word of the general before we move to closing statements. Go ahead, buddy.
I was so enveloped in that conversation about the EU, I almost forgot what I was going to say. I just want to make a simple statement. Helping other countries doesn't need to be a zero-sum game, okay? There's a lot of mutual benefit that we get from investing in other countries, from encouraging businesses here to expand into these countries, and we get a lot from having people from these countries immigrate here. They work here, they start businesses, they pay taxes, regardless of what a lot of people say. They do pay taxes in certain ways. It's not a zero-sum game like it's been made out to be, and I want to make that very, very clear.
I don't think I was making it out to be that. Like,
thank you, Zan.
Am I? Honestly, am I making it out to be that? I don't think I am.
Then Nacho, then LSP, then Sprout, then Zan, and then finishing with Biggs. So,
wait, just a quick question: closing statements for like the whole thing, or
no.
One more. We got one more.
Hanz. No, I will leave. All right. So the closing statement is specifically for this topic. And then I'll let you all do your plugs and stuff at the end. I want you to focus your closing statement on our topic, and then I'll let you like do the plug stuff at the end. Because normally, because I used to like let people do both, but the thing is, people would spend like a minute plugging themselves and like 10 seconds answering the question. So let's focus on the question, and I promise I'll give everyone time to plug their shit at the end. So, Rose Wrist, go ahead, buddy.
All right. So when it comes to whether or not the United States of America and other countries should like accept refugees and do their best in order to obtain like humanitarian goals when it comes to the handling of like disasters and to help the people that are affected by those, absolutely 100% we should, and we should do that directly there when it comes to accepting refugees who find themselves in very troubled situations in which they may face bodily harm or otherwise. If we don't like, well, I guess I say we because that's just the context of the conversation, but if countries don't like take them in when it comes to their request for like amnesty or for asylum or the rest of it, so absolutely that should be done. And we should also look into like a number of more long-term solutions to like reduce the likelihood of these disasters and these economic upheavals and these destabilizing efforts when it comes to like political things or climate change or whatever, for them to occur through the implementation of more widespread, well agreed upon, like regulated free trade agreements between different countries. And through that, we will see like it's the main tool we have to combat the greatest amount of issues that we face, like as a planet, really, that we have to resolve over the next few decades. So yeah, trade agreements, amazing. Taking in refugees, also pretty good idea, and you should probably do that.
Thank you, Rose Roast. All right, Nacho.
Yeah, so yeah, we should invade Mexico and Canada and just accept them into our union here. No, but
Based.
no, maybe no, but yeah, I don't have any problem with like exploring this. If we're talking about maybe like bringing Canada and Mexico into the fold, as far as like in the similar sense as like all these countries in the European Union have come together and basically made their own USA in Europe. That's fine, but I also understand. I think what Biggs was pointing out was that basically like we're already basically the same size with the EU and the United States comparatively, and that this would be like adding an additional amount to the population, and there'd be additional barriers to cross. Uh, what the hell else did I write down here, man? Uh, yeah, I don't know if we should do this because like doing it because it feels good, like because it's morally right. Yes, we should do some of that, but at the same time, we still have to weigh this in because we are presenting this to the entire population, because we have people who are sleeping under bridges and we have other people here at home that we could be helping with our tax dollars. We have roads that needs to be fixed. What meanwhile we're fucking like paying tolls at bridges, and we're like, hey, we already put this money aside to like spend on our roads. What the fuck's going on here? Like toll bridge meme, whatever. We are already mismanaging so much of our tax money already. Is the point that I'm trying to make here, and it's like it's really hard to pitch this to the population and say like, hey, yeah, we know we have all this fucked up shit here, but we should go over here and spend all our money and send it all over there. So yes, we morally, like, obviously we should help as many people as we can, but like I was pointing out earlier, I think this is the main difference, or one of the core differences here, is that this just falls lower on the list for a lot of people on the right, and maybe even on people on the left too. So
Thank you, Nacho. All right, LSP.
And
also, like just quickly to clarify, Nacho went a little longer than he should have. That was my failure as a moderator. I got distracted by something. No, that's my fault for not stopping you. Go ahead, LSP.
This interruption, Hans, I consider a mark on our friendship.
She made a response video. I'm really excited to watch it on stream tomorrow. Go ahead, LSP.
Cool. I hope your friendship's still intact after that response video.
She said we're not friends anymore, so I can watch it from an enemy's point of view. I'm very excited.
Who is this?
Ooh.
Demon Mama.
It's
Go ahead,
kind of
LSP.
freeing, isn't it? Being enemies. Borders are stupid. Free trade good. Immigration good. Yeah.
You should enter a free trade agreement with Demon Mama. Maybe that'll resolve.
Oh, don't worry. Don't worry.
The problem is, my man, they're not sending their best.
Wow.
Anarchoid seething. All right, Sprout, go ahead.
Okay, so nations should help other nations. Just a moral obligation, if nothing else. There should be an even workload amongst the nations. I mean, obviously, if the one nation's bigger than another nation, they should be able to take more. But every nation should try to help out their brother and sister nations locally, and I think that would help out a lot of issues. I think that immigrants should have to go through several different countries to get to the United States, so they'd have to try and get into their first bordering countries and their second bordering countries and their third bordering countries, not decide they want to skip straight to the United States.
All right, thank you, Sprout. Zan.
Yeah, I feel like I said most of what I wanted to say in my previous talking stint. But yeah, no, I think that overall there's a lot that we can gain, that we do gain from immigration, both legal and illegal immigration. And I think that the hysteria around it is a waste of time when there are much more important issues going on that we could be focusing on. Like I know that American Nacho brought up homelessness here in America. A lot of conservatives will say that they care about that, but then be unwilling to enact some of the policies that could help deal with that problem. Not accusing American Nacho of being one of those people. I don't know that, but I think that's an example of problems that we have here and in other countries that can be solved if we focus more of our attention off of this issue of immigration and more so onto actual ways we can help these countries.
Thank you so much, Zan. All right, Biggs, final word. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, so I honestly think that we all kind of want the same thing here. We want the people that need help to be helped. But I think that what it comes down to is like what requirement should these countries be responsible to provide? And I think that the United States has some obligation morally. Now, I think that the obligation part, and I think that what Rose said before was like, should it be obligation or should? Like, I think those kind of go together. So I think we should provide some relief for these people. I think especially for people within our low general location, I think that just makes sense logistically. Obviously, getting people from like across the world is kind of difficult, blah blah blah. But I think that as far as like countries, I think any country that has an ability to help people, they should try to morally. But I think that we do need to balance the cost benefit and stuff like that. And I do agree, like they said, like I'm all for free trade, but what I was trying to combat against was like the actual like money put forth by the taxpayers, right? So like free like trade agreements basically don't cost anything other than like some type of like little opportunity costs or like manufacturing costs or whatever. But I do think that if we can have free trade and do some type of help nation building, that may be ability, but I think that we need to focus on where the actual benefits and cost benefit and cost return on investment can be had, and focus on those things first. And then if we have use that money that we profit from that to build on for the future.
Thank you, Biggs. All right, thank you all so much for an amazing panel. I thank you also for the amazing meme topic. The second, that was our first time we've ever done something like that. It was an absolute hilarious banger, and now I hope everyone realizes why I mod so strictly, because otherwise apparently y'all can't behave. So with all this in
What
mind,
happened to topic 3? Okay.
Okay, I want to go to bed.
Immigrants are good. We all agree. Okay, good night.
I'm trying to fix my sleep schedule. If no one knows, I might have actually stayed up all night and streamed till 8 a.m. today. So I need to reset my schedule, as I'm gonna be fucked for work next week.
That Joker arc is really fucking your fucking shit.
Just stop sleeping, period, and then you'll be the perfect Joker.
I need debate. All right, Brackus, tell us who you are, where we can find you. Link your shit in chat. Go ahead, buddy.
I am the Sprouticus. You can find me at twitch.tv/DSprouticus and twitter.com/DSprouticus. If you're interested in what I do outside of this, which is basically just more panels, I do a podcast with Maddie Cakes, and generally just have you guys come on and go over the news. If you're interested in any of that, go and give me a follow. Maybe even give me a subscription if you hate me, because it keeps me around for longer. Thanks for having me on, Hans.
Thanks so much for being here, buddy. LSP.
Appointment there.
Hi. Hello?
Because
Can you
again,
hear
you're
me?
talking
Wait,
about
shit.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Hi. My name's LSP. My videos suck. Don't watch my videos. There's a great YouTuber named The Long Take who does these movie analysis videos, and I watched a great video today on it was a movie analysis of Joy from Blade Runner 2049, and I really enjoyed that video. Go subscribe to The Long Take and go watch his video. My channel's hot garbage, but his channel's like real good shit. And I'll just link it in chat, and that's all. Thanks, of course, for having me, Hans. You're really cool. I like that your biceps have biceps. You need to take a break.
Biceps and biceps.
I'm just gonna keep going. I gotta be ready next time I'm on a panel with infrared. Like, start B with everybody. Go ahead, Nacho.
Yeah, American Nacho, come hang out, come see me suck at video games, except for maybe like one or two, and come hear more of my shit takes on politics.
Go for the takes, stay for the gamer words. Everyone
That's
follow
it, baby.
All right. Thanks so much for being here, buddy. Always love having you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
All right. Rose Wrist. Let's go, buddy.
Hi, my name is Rose Wrist. I'm a social democratic progressive type person. I stream 3 times a week. I upload 6 videos a week. Busy schedule. Always something happening. But yeah, if you want to find where my stuff is, my YouTube channel, which is probably the main platform I'd recommend people go to, is called Rose Wrist. It's 2 words, so Rose Wrist. And yeah, like I said, 6 uploads a week. Wow, that's a lot of uploads. And yeah, then I have that. I got my streams and everything going on. I also have like a Twitch under the same name. And then I have my beautiful website called rosewrist.com. And you can go there and you can get the very cool chat that's on my version of the stream right now with all the cool emotes and everything as well. So you can check that out as well if you want to look at my streams and stuff like that in the future. But yeah, thank you very much for having me on, Hans. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the time set aside to do the border wall thing, despite that.
No, I appreciate
Being
the suggestion.
a-
It was really
something.
good. Everyone check out RGG. You know, his website.
It's actually
Yeah.
a .com website. Okay,
Oof,
I'm fighting
cringe,
back against the
cringe.
GGG fucking cringe shit. Okay, it's .com here, right? I'm making my shit more accessible to the boomers. Boomers .gg, what the fuck is that? Makes no sense. .com, it kind of registers a little bit, so it's all about being, marketable and everything.
Everyone check out Roseverse. He's fucking awesome. All right, the man who carried this panel, who was the soul warrior fighting all comers at once, the man, the myth, the legend, Biggs. Where can we find you?
Yeah, so I stream on Twitch at Biggs8500. You can find me on YouTube, Biggs8500, and on Twitter at Biggs8500. I've been trying to get my Twitter game going, trying to follow in the big shoes of Hanz, trying to drum up that Twitter drama, that fun drama, that sweet content farming. I love it. It's amazing.
What are you talking about? I've never done that in my life. This week has been...
I just want to thank Hanz especially. Thank you so much for providing this fucking platform. It's amazing. You have some of the best panels out there, giving people actually like speaking time and having people be able to actually have good conversation. I want to thank especially LSP and Rose Wrist. I had so much fun having back and forth with both of you.
Hey, right back at you, man. I loved you.
Yeah, I mean, and I would love to have some other conversations with you just in private or on stream, whatever you guys want. I know Rose, I know you do some stuff on Politically Provoked. I'm on there as well. I don't know if you want to do any of that stuff, but Xander Hall, I love your content. I watch your stream occasionally. I felt like you didn't get as much stuff in this debate, but I love your content. You're amazing. And I want to give a very big special shout out to Sprout and Nacho. These guys are my boys. I hang out with these guys for like the last, I don't know, about a year, right? We've been like chilling. Yeah, it's been amazing. I was happy to go to battle with you guys against the left. I thought we did well. I thought we represented. I thought we crushed. So I just want to thank everybody on here. Everybody subscribe to all these people. They're amazing. Thank you so much, Hanz. You're the best panel host ever.
Thank you so
All
much.
I gotta say is my flask of liberal tears is running dry. I'm gonna need another liberal to start crying. That way I can fill it up.
Hey, all right. I'm not watching anime, and Vosh hasn't talked to me today, so like I probably won't cry. And the tears from Vosh is tears of joy, because I legit almost cried like after he called in like the first time we had our first one-on-one chat, because he was like my hero. He's the reason I started streaming. But all right, last person, Zan. Thank you so much for being here. You were a fucking joy to have, and you're always welcome back, buddy. Tell us where we can find you, because even though you're 5 million times my size, where can we find you, buddy?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and my website, xanderhall.com /live. I go by the name Xanderhall basically everywhere. I do left-wing political content, sometimes gaming. And I do plan to upload a few prepared videos soon rather than like stream clips. So if you want to see me live, you can come check me out. I appreciate you having me on, Hanz. It's been one of the more fun panels I've been on, for sure. And yeah, I definitely plan to come back. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for being here, buddy. And everybody, if you liked this, make sure that you follow. I do these amazing panels every single Saturday at 8, and I do an amazing small streamer panel to help smaller creators on the platform and on YouTube and everywhere else get their name out there on Sundays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come chat tomorrow at 4 for an excellent conversation on how to improve our education system. And then I'll be live tomorrow at 8, also on the Dr. Heem panel podcast thing at 8. And then, if you didn't know, I thought the discourse was dead, but Demon Mama has fired back with a new prepared video about her opinions on mandatory schooling. So get ready tomorrow. I will react to that video live. And also, there's been a lot of accusations about my behavior, so I'm going to take the Dark Triad test live on stream just to see how bad and...
Thank you all so much for hanging out tonight. I appreciate it. Have a great evening. You guys are amazing. Thank you for all the follows. You guys are the best. Peace.
It's going to be a good night. Thank you all so much for being here. I really, really appreciate
mandatory
all.
education.
You're the best, man. I love you.
True.
Fuck the haters.
Make
You're
these
the
kids go to
best.
school, damn it. Make them get learned.
We're going to school.